Chapter 1598. A new round of sniping began. The 5 snipers standing in the middle of the 12 o'clock reloaded their guns and fired at Yun Jian again. Oh my god! Hang Ziliang and the rest who were standing far away were not shot by the snipers. It was because Yun Jian was the sniper's target. A medium-caliber sniper rifle had an effective shooting range of 800 meters. Moreover, the snipers would choose to shoot from a height of tens of meters to focus on their target. Yun Jian was at a disadvantage standing far away. Any carelessness and she would lose her life. It was no laughing matter. She's here. She's here. Hang Ziliang could even feel Yun Jian's victory. He gripped the corner of his shirt tightly and looked sideways at Yun Jian. His instincts told him that Yun Jian's ability was enough to shock them. Of course, other than Hang Ziliang who thought so, the rest did not think so. No matter how powerful Yun Jian was, she was only a teenage girl. She was no different from an ordinary girl. How powerful could she be? Therefore, the people present could already imagine how miserable Yun Jian's ending would be. Go to hell. Let her die. Song Ling dared not imagine what would happen to her if Yun Jian survived. Song Ling became Sun Baiwen's mistress. She wanted to replace Qin Fangfang and become the Sun family's official wife one day. Her plan was simple. She wanted Qin Fangfang to get out of the Sun family. She had heard from Sun Baiwen about Yun Jian's power. She was the director of new crews. Yun Jian's aunt was Qin Fangfang. If Yun Jian died in the sniper's hands, Song Ling felt that she would have nothing to fear. However, if Yun Jian did not die and she had such terrifying ability, what would Song Ling do if something happened to her? Therefore, Song Ling had an idea. To distract Yun Jian, she shouted loudly. She looked like she wanted the snipers to notice Yun Jian's hiding spot and kill Yun Jian. She's over there. Next to that tree. Kill her. Quick, snipe her. Song Ling thought that her shout was more or less useful for the sniper to locate Yun Jian's hiding spot and snipe her to death. When the people around heard Song Ling's shout, their impression of the mistress dropped again. Yun Jian was hiding behind a tree. Her eyes darkened when she heard Song Ling's shout. At that moment, the sniper who was far away found Yun Jian's hiding spot. He had obviously heard Song Ling's shout and started firing at Yun Jian. Without hesitation, Yun Jian rolled away from the tree. The tree was blown to smithereens by the sniper's bullets from afar at the same time. Yun Jian rolled on the ground and the sniper's bullets swept across the ground. That's it. Now's the time. Yun Jian looked up slightly. She held her gun and sensed the exact location of the sniper's attack. She turned her gun and aimed at the sky. In the same direction as the sniper, there were 5 sniper spots not far away. She did not even look up when she fired the shot. To Yun Jian, she relied on the trajectory of the sniper's strafing bullets to kill the sniper. She raised her hand and fired along the bullet trajectory. Naturally, she could kill the sniper. After 5 shots, Yun Jian turned around and walked back to Hang Ziliang, Sun Baiwen, and the others. Hang Ziliang, Sun Baiwen, Song Ling, and the others could clearly see that the 5 snipers on the tall building did not have time to hide. They were hit in the head by Yun Jian's 5 shots and fell backward. Yun Jian did not even need to use her eyes to confirm that the 5 snipers were dead. She just turned around and walked back. Her style made everyone feel that it was not her first time encountering snipers. It was also not her first time killing snipers with a gun. She was even certain that the 5 snipers would not be able to escape from her 5 shots. At that moment, in everyone's eyes, Yun Jian was like the king of killing. She was like the grim reaper from hell, strolling back here. Song Ling's heart skipped a beat. She was so scared that she shrank behind Sun Baiwen. Her actions just now were obviously to kill Yun Jian. Everyone at the scene could see it. At that moment, not only was Yun Jian not dead, she even killed the sniper. She was not human. She had killed someone. Everyone was terrified, but no one was more terrified than Song Ling. You. What are you trying to do? Sun Baiwen was so frightened that his expression changed. Yun Jian looked at Sun Baiwen and Song Ling coldly but did not make a move. Bang! Qing Yu and Gu Nianji, who had hurried back, brought a tied sniper back and tossed him in front of Yun Jian. Sister Jian, we caught one alive, Qing Yu told Yun Jian. Bang! Without another word, Yun Jian raised her gun and shot the sniper's head. This scene caused Sun Baiwen and Song Ling, who were standing in front of them, to tremble in fear. Hang Ziliang and the others were terrified as well. They've been brainwashed. Useless people are not to be spared, Yunjian said coldly. Just as she said that, she turned to look at Sun Baiwen and Song Ling. Then, she raised her gun and pointed it at them in front of everyone, continuing in an eerie tone. Chapter 1599. Yunjian had killed the snipers who were captured alive right in front of the crowd and had even killed the 5 snipers from high up in the sky earlier. In addition, Yunjian had stabbed her aunt's shameless mother-in-law, Zhu Hengxiang's thigh without even looking. Everyone present believed that since Yunjian had pointed her gun at Sun Baiwen and the mistress, Song Ling, she would definitely shoot. It was because she had killed the snipers earlier. Most of the people present were the common people of Pudong City. Apart from visiting relatives and friends at Zhu Hengxiang's house and gathering with relatives like today, they usually lived a simple life. What happened today was completely out of everyone's expectations. When Yunjian killed the snipers from high up in the sky, the crowd did not feel as horrified as when Yunjian killed them. However, when Yunjian killed the snipers that Qingyu had brought back with a single shot, it felt like she was the boss of a black market, instilling fear in the people around her. Song Ling was scared out of her wits as well. When Yunjian pointed the gun at her head, Song Ling let go of Sun Baiwen's arm and knelt down in front of Yunjian. I didn't do it on purpose. I won't do it again. I'll return him to your aunt. Song Ling was scared out of her wits, even kowtowing to Yunjian in apology. If Yunjian let Song Ling go today, she would not be Yunjian anymore, Yunjian. It was true that Yunjian would not kill Song Ling based on her aunt, Qin Fangfang. However, Yunjian hated it when people did things behind her back. Just like how Song Ling had screamed at the snipers from afar that she wanted her dead. If Yunjian could let Song Ling go today, she would write her name in reverse, Yunjian. That kind of trashy man is only good enough for a woman like you. My aunt is not on the same level as you. Yunjian finished speaking and was about to shoot Song Ling in the head. However, before Yunjian could deliver the shot, Sun Baiwen, who was standing beside Song Ling, suddenly shouted at Yunjian. His appearance was filled with a sense of recklessness. How dare you? You dare to kill us? If you dare to kill us, you will go to jail yourself. If you don't kill us, we'll keep what happened today a secret. We won't pursue the matter of the snipers you killed and my mother's death. Leave. You can do whatever you want. As long as you don't kill us. Sun Baiwen usually looked like an honest and straightforward person. At this moment, he first wanted to subdue Yunjian and then use a soft tone to negotiate with Yunjian. Yunjian suddenly narrowed her eyes. She had not met someone as interesting as Sun Baiwen in a long time. Therefore, she retracted her pistol and narrowed her eyes at Sun Baiwen with a fierce gaze. Are you threatening me? No, I'm just negotiating with you. It's the best way to deal with you and me. Sun Baiwen thought that he had successfully threatened Yunjian. Therefore, he wiped the cold sweat off his palms and opened his mouth again. Blood Doll is the #1 assassin organization in Southeast Asia. Now, it's fighting for the entire Southeast Asia. So, do you think that I, who is being hunted down by Blood Doll, have a lower status than them? Just when Sun Baiwen thought that his negotiation was successful, Yunjian's indifferent voice rang out. Sun Baiwen's heart tightened. Everyone present widened their eyes in horror, especially Wang Duo, Hang Ziliang, and the others. Just when everyone was in shock and horror, Yunjian's voice rang out again. If I kill you, I also have a way to make you disappear completely from the eyes of the Z people. No one will find out about your deaths. Your deaths will be as if you never existed in this world. So, what right do you have to negotiate with me? What she said sent chills down Sun Baiwen's spine. I have a lot of rules. Anyone who dares to stand behind me and do things behind my back must die today. Just when everyone was unable to react, Yunjian's eyes suddenly turned ruthless. She raised her hand and fired a shot at the head of the mistress, Song Ling, which shocked everyone present. Chapter 1600. This spear directly pierced through Song Ling's head. In that instant, blood splattered everywhere. Yunjian's shot was so accurate that it did not hurt any of the innocent people present. However, Song Ling did not even have the chance to react before her head was shot through. Bam! Song Ling's eyes widened. She died with her eyes wide open, but she could no longer stand up after falling to the ground. Be it ancient times or modern times, A mistress had always been an abhorrent existence. Yun Jian's shot went straight for Song Ling's vital spot. The shot meant that Song Ling would never be able to stand up again. Seeing this, everyone present screamed in fright and took a few steps back. Dead. She really killed Song Ling. Sun Baiwen fainted from the shock because Song Ling had died right next to him. Just like that. As for most of the people present, almost half of them fainted from the shock. Most of them were women. Except for Sun Baiwen. Yun Jian turned her gun after killing Song Ling and pointed it at Sun Baiwen. She shot Sun Baiwen's lower body where his family jewels were. She did not kill him because her aunt, Qin Fangfang, had not divorced Sun Baiwen. If Sun Baiwen died, Qin Fangfang would only be considered a widow. Even if she divorced, people would say that her husband's family had died in an accident. She was so ungrateful that she did not even take care of her husband's parents and left. Yun Jian did not care about such a reputation, but her aunt, Qin Fangfang, definitely cared. After all, Qin Fangfang was just an ordinary woman. Such rumors would be very disadvantageous to her. Therefore, Yun Jian crippled Sun Baiwen directly but did not kill him. Then, she announced to the public that Sun Baiwen had cheated on her. It was reasonable for Qin Fangfang to divorce Sun Baiwen. At the very least, the rumors and slanders in the outside world would be directed at Sun Baiwen, and the one who would be scolded and criticized would only be Sun Baiwen. Fortunately, Qin Fangfang, Qin Yiru, and Zhang Meihua were upstairs and did not witness this. Yun Jian waved at Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. Qing Yu and Gu Nianji obeyed and walked towards the crowd in unison. You! What do you want them to do to us? Seeing this, Hang Ziliang shouted in horror. Just as he finished shouting, Yun Jian continued, I want you to forget what happened just now. Forget? Could there be something in this world that could make people forget part of their memories? Hang Ziliang's expression changed. Just as Hang Ziliang was feeling puzzled, Gu Nianji walked over and struck Hang Ziliang in the neck. Moments later, Qing Yu went to Yun Jian and nodded at Yun Jian. Sister Jian, they've been given amnesia lotion for 3 hours. Okay, you two take care of the scene. I'll take my mother and the others away first. Yun Jian instructed Qing Yu and Gu Nianji before turning to look for Qin Yiru and the rest in the room on the second floor. The 3-hour amnesia lotion was made by Qing Yu. It could make people forget everything that happened in the past 3 hours and there were no side effects after consuming it. The rest was left to Qing Yu and Gu Nianji while Yun Jian led Qin Yiru and the rest out the back door after going up to the second floor. Qin Fangfang was heartbroken, so they did not notice what happened in front of Sun Baiwen's house. After all, he was her husband whom she had spent most of her life with. Not showing weakness in front of outsiders did not mean that Qin Fangfang was not sad at all. Qin Fangfang did not bear any children for the Sun family, so she left casually. After returning to Longmen City, Qin Fangfang went back to Xinjiang town with Zhang Meihua despite her emotional breakdown. Everything that was irrational had to be dealt with after her brain calmed down and everything became rational. Sigh, Xiao Jian, I'll be going back to Xinjiang town to accompany your aunt for the next 2 days. Xiao Zhu and the rest have asked Mrs. Yang to pick them up. Watch them at night. Chapter 1601. After Qin Yiru left, the house quieted down. Ce was now in an Hun group. Xiao Yunju and the other 3 were temporarily staying at Mrs. Yang's house, and Gu Junjian naturally had to go on a mission, so after Qin Yiru left, there was really no one at home. However, Yun Jian naturally had somewhere to go. Moreover, she would be going to the hunting school selection field in 2 days. She would be in seclusion for an entire month, so naturally, Yun Jian had a lot of things to do during this month. For example, spread your feet further apart, and do the horse dance properly. Your flexibility isn't enough. Yun Jian crossed her arms in front of her chest, watching Zhang Xiaofeng who was standing in front of her training like crazy. Zhang Xiaofeng's current strength had changed a lot compared to before, but it was still not enough. Zhang Xiaofeng's foundation was not bad, but the foundation was accumulated step by step. Yun Jian had not taught Zhang Xiaofeng anything substantial. Zhang Xiaofeng might be able to defeat a group of weak boys in school, but if he were to fight against an expert who had been practicing taekwondo since young, Zhang Xiaofeng would not be able to do it. This was because what Yun Jian taught Zhang Xiaofeng was only the basics. When Zhang Xiaofeng mastered all the basics that Yun Jian taught him, Yun Jian would then teach Zhang Xiaofeng the killer move. At that time, after Zhang Xiaofeng mastered the basics, Yun Jian would teach him the killer move. This way, Zhang Xiaofeng's strength would make a substantial leap. If Zhang Xiaofeng was a fast learner, he could even elevate his skills to the level of a high-level assassin. Of course, Zhang Xiaofeng's current strength was far from enough, because he had not mastered the basics. Idiot, haha, I like to see your legs trembling. Chen Xini stood at the side and laughed at Zhang Xiaofeng with her hands on her hips. Chen Xini and Zhang Xiaofeng were cousins. Both of them had been friends with Yun Jian ever since she transferred to Longmen City. Chen Xini and Zhang Xiaofeng bickered every day. Therefore, when she saw Zhang Xiaofeng squatting under Yun Jian's supervision and his legs swinging left and right like springs, Chen Xini couldn't let go of such a good opportunity to mock Zhang Xiaofeng. Her laughter was louder than anyone else's. Laugh, 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 don't cry. Zhang Xiaofeng glared at Chen Xini a little angrily, but both Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Xini were just bickering. They were not really angry. Zhang Xiaofeng, Chen Xini, and Ling Chen were admitted to the same high school in Longmen City. So Ling Chen would usually hang out with Chen Xini and Zhang Xiaofeng. However, he did not come today as he had something to do at home and could not leave. Zhang Xiaofeng, Chen Xini, and Ling Chen were all studying in Longmen City No. 1 High School. The three of them were in the same school and usually played together. Yun Jian would look for Zhang Xiaofeng and the other two whenever she came back, mainly to check if Zhang Xiaofeng had been training obediently when she was not around. Master, I feel like I'm getting more energetic now. Zhang Xiaofeng did a squat and gestured a little. Continue. Yun Jian did not praise Zhang Xiaofeng as she spoke with a straight face as usual. This was a huge park in Longmen City. There was no lack of old men training and practicing Tai Chi around the park, but it was unheard of for people of Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Chen Xini's age to train in the park. Just as Zhang Xiaofeng reached a certain level in his squat, a group of young men and women who looked like hooligans sauntered in from outside the park. They went straight to where Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Chen Xini were. One of the boys pushed Zhang Xiaofeng, who was still squatting, away when he came to them and sized Yun Jian up with narrowed eyes provocatively. After a while, the boy even whistled exaggeratedly and teased, "Yo yo yo! Yo yo yo, Zhang Xiaofeng. Is this the legendary master you've been talking about? You're actually taking a girl as your master. What an embarrassment to men." Chapter 1602. Zhang Xiaofeng's face darkened when he saw the group of teenagers walking in from outside the park. However, Yun Jian had once told him that unless his life was in danger or the sky was falling, he had to wait until he was done with his training before talking to anyone else. Hence, Zhang Xiaofeng kept his silence and continued squatting. You guys are so annoying. There are so many people in class who want to learn from a master, but you guys are so bored during the weekend that you're cramping up? You even came all the way here. Let me tell you, Jianjian's ability isn't something you guys can compare to. Chen Xini retorted with a frown, unable to take the boy's words anymore. The boy's name was Yuan Hongming. He did know Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Xini. Yuan Hongming was also a student of Longmen City No. 1 High School and was in the same school and class as Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Xini. Yuan Hongming had a conflict with Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Xini in school before. When school had just started, Yuan Hongming had started wooing Chen Xini madly when he saw how pretty Chen Xini was. However, he was stopped by Zhang Xiaofeng before he could even begin. Yuan Hongming and Zhang Xiaofeng's feud was thus born. Later, he heard from his classmates that Zhang Xiaofeng was learning from a girl and often went to the nearby park to train. That was why Yuan Hongming had brought his brothers and sisters from school today to surround Zhang Xiaofeng's master. They wanted to see what kind of person Zhang Xiaofeng's master was. A woman could be a master? He, Yuan Hongming, was eager to see what was going on. A woman was actually Zhang Xiaofeng's master? Was this not the biggest joke in the world? Pfft, listen, he said this girl is good? He even said that we can't beat her. Haha. Yuan Hongming was considered tall and had an average appearance. However, as soon as Chen Xini finished speaking, a skinny and average-looking boy standing at the side, who was only about 1.59 meters tall, glanced at Yun Jian with shifty eyes and mocked. This boy was obviously Yuan Hongming's lackey. He was ugly and his words were not pleasant to hear. Zhang Xiaofeng, why are you not saying anything? Are you scared? If you have the guts, why don't you ask your master to fight with us in the arena? Let's see who's stronger. Yuan Hongming still remembered how Zhang Xiaofeng had stopped him from pursuing Chen Xini when school had just started. Seeing that Zhang Xiaofeng was squatting and ignoring him, Yuan Hongming felt a little angry. Although Yuan Hongming had found a new girlfriend now, he really liked Chen Sini at that time, so he was very disgusted with Zhang Xiaofeng, who hindered him from pursuing Chen Sini. Continue. Yun Jian ignored the chirping sparrows around her and spat out 2 words to Zhang Xiaofeng. Yuan Hongming was the typical kind of boy in school who would find a girl to date in order to have an ambiguous relationship with a girl. To put it bluntly, for Yuan Hongming, he would die if he didn't date a girl for a day. Moreover, people like Yuan Hongming were very prideful. So when he was blatantly ignored by a girl, even if this girl, Yun Jian, was good-looking, Yuan Hongming would feel disgusted. Ha! You are Zhang Xiaofeng's master, right? I heard that you are quite strong. How about it? Do you want to have a spar? I am a master of Taekwondo, Sanda, and Wushu since I was young. Don't blame me if I make you cry. Yun Jian had not agreed to fight with Yuan Hongming, but Yuan Hongming had already made his decision. However, Yun Jian did not have the intention to pay attention to Yuan Hongming from beginning to end, which made Yuan Hongming's group a little anxious. However, as a man who did not lose his temper with a girl, especially Yun Jian's outstanding looks, Yuan Hongming's group did not have the intention to force her. Seeing that Yun Jian did not pay attention to them, they followed the usual style of boys and began to show off in front of Yun Jian some things that they thought Yun Jian did not know. Hey! Do you guys know about that internationally famous hunting school? A short boy who was only 1.59 meters tall and did not look very good said mysteriously. I know. That is the place that all the special forces in the world yearn for. I heard that the mortality rate is very high. But after graduating, the people who come out are the top talents in the world. Immediately, another boy added. Hearing this, the girls beside Yuan Hongming's group all exclaimed, Wow! And oh! With this, the short boy became even more excited. When he spoke, he even glanced at Yun Jian arrogantly, almost to the point of flying to the sky. My uncle is a special forces soldier. In 2 days, that hunting school, our country's selection will begin. I heard that only 3 people can be shortlisted, and there are 100 people participating. My uncle is also one of the 100 people. Chapter 1603. This skinny boy, who was only 1.59 meters tall and looked like a foreigner, was called Wang Qingjiang. At this moment, Wang Qingjiang's face was filled with a smug expression, as if he was extremely powerful. In fact, there were only 3 Special Forces members who could enter the hunting school in Country Z. The selection field was just a selection held by Country Z to select 3 members who would represent their country to go to the hunting school. Of course, the Special Forces members who could be sent to the selection field were the top talents in Country Z. Although Wang Qingjiang's cockiness made everyone present unhappy, it was very popular with this group of girls. Most of the girls didn't know much about the market, but these guys tried their best to understand all kinds of markets just to show off in front of the girls. As it turned out, Wang Qingjiang's bragging made the girls' jaws drop in shock. Wang Qingjiang turned his head to look at Yun Jian proudly, but saw that Yun Jian didn't show any signs of surprise. He couldn't help but be surprised. Shouldn't she be surprised that his uncle could go to such a harsh place like the selection field? Why didn't this girl have any reaction at all? Qingjiang, you're hiding it so well. Yuan Hongming, who was beside him, put his arm around the short Wang Qingjiang's shoulder and said to him with a smile. After hearing Yuan Hongming's words, the vanity that Wang Qingjiang didn't find in Yun Jian earlier was overflowing. Of course. My uncle is nearby. He went to buy water and will come here later. If you need, you can ask my uncle for an autograph or something. After all, there are only a few Special Forces members who can participate in the selection field in Country Z. As Wang Qingjiang spoke, he glanced at Yun Jian and hinted, My uncle only gives autographs to my friends. If it's someone who doesn't get along with me, I won't give it to her unless she kisses me. As Wang Qingjiang spoke, he turned his head and glanced at Yun Jian a few more times. The way he said it, it was as if getting his uncle's autograph was the best luck of a few lifetimes. The boy next to him immediately understood what Wang Qingjiang meant by that. A guy even laughed and teased Wang Qingjiang. Qingjiang, you're short, but you're good at picking up girls. Zhang Xiaofeng, who was beside them, was still squatting in the horse stance. He was not disturbed by this group of people at all. Yun Jian also did not make a sound. Chen Sini clenched her fists in anger, but in the end, she ignored them. Just when Wang Qingjiang felt bored, he suddenly shouted excitedly to a tall figure at the entrance of the park, "Uncle! I'm here!" Just a moment ago, he thought that it was pointless for him to show off, but in the end, his uncle came. Wang Qingjiang immediately felt energized. Wang Qingjiang's youngest uncle was completely different from Wang Qingjiang. Wang Qingjiang's youngest uncle was quite handsome. He was about 1.75 meters tall. Looking from a distance, his valiant appearance was very similar to that of a special soldier. Wang Qingjiang's uncle had just walked over when Wang Qingjiang could not help glancing at Yun Jian and continued to boast to the group. He said to the crowd, "This is my youngest uncle. My youngest uncle is going to the selection field. With his strength, I believe that he can definitely get into the top 3 and then represent our country to participate in this year's hunting school. You guys, if you're smart, you should ask for his autograph or something." Speaking of this, Wang Qingjiang paused again. He turned his short body slightly and looked at Yun Jian with a provocative gaze. Just when he was about to use words to flirt with Yun Jian a few more times. However, he saw his youngest uncle looking at Yun Jian. After seeing Yun Jian's appearance clearly, Wang Qingjiang's youngest uncle looked at Yun Jian excitedly in front of everyone and said, You're the girl from Min City's military school. Last time, in the headquarters of Glenn, the boss of the underground black market in Europe and America, it was you who led people to break out of the encirclement in the dungeon where no one had ever escaped before and led people to launch a surprise attack. Chapter 1604. Wang Qingjiang's uncle's name was Wang Dong. He was quite good-looking and was about 1.75 meters tall. He was a special forces soldier under Gu Junjian. Last time, Yun Jian had seized a helicopter and drove it to the headquarters of the European and American underground black market boss, Guluan, to rescue Gu Junjian. Wang Dong was one of the special forces soldiers with Yun Jian. Therefore, even though that incident had been suppressed and the people from the Min City Military Academy and the special forces did not know the truth, Wang Dong still knew what had happened back then. Back then, it was Yun Jian who had rescued Gu Junjian and the others from the dungeon. Wang Dong still could not forget how Yun Jian had rescued Gu Junjian and the others from the dungeon. In the dungeon, facing so many guards armed with machine guns, she had killed them all without batting an eyelid. She had easily rescued everyone from the dungeon. She had become the only legendary person who had led people out of the dungeon where no one had been able to escape. "Uncle, what are you talking about?" After hearing what his uncle Wang Dong had said, Wang Qingjiang was stunned for a moment and did not react for a long time. The dungeon built by the boss of the European and American underground black market. That is the dungeon where no one has been able to break out of the dungeon. Didn't they say that someone had successfully escaped a while ago? How could it be her? She's just a high school student who had just entered school. Yuan Hongming was also shocked by Wang Qingjiang's uncle Wang Dong. What Wang Dong said was simply too inconceivable. It was said that the boss of the European and American underground black market, Guluan, was arrested because of the first person who had successfully escaped from the dungeon. Yun Jian was just an ordinary high school student. How could she be the legendary person? Moreover, this incident had not been reported. "I've always wanted to get to know you. Not only are you powerful, but you're also Officer Ji's daughter. I didn't expect you to be my nephew's friend." Wang Dong didn't realize that his nephew Wang Qingjiang and the others were hostile towards Yun Jian. He looked at Yun Jian with admiration. The daughter of a military officer with astonishing strength? These words flooded into the hearts of Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and everyone present, causing everyone present to widen their eyes. Yun Jian. She was the daughter of a military officer? Moreover, he was praised by Wang Qingjiang, a powerful special forces soldier. His strength was astonishing? Wasn't this too inconceivable? Putting aside the fact that Wang Qingjiang's uncle Wang Dong had just said that Yun Jian was the first person in history to successfully escape from the dungeon, just the words that followed were enough to make everyone present go crazy. Yun Jian blinked. She didn't say much, but she also tacitly agreed to this fact. "Uncle, she's really that powerful." Wang Qingjiang pointed at Yun Jian. He blinked fiercely and then looked at Wang Dong in disbelief. Yuan Hongming's face was also as dark as if he had eaten dog poop. At the beginning, Yuan Hongming and Wang Qingjiang looked down on Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Chen Sini. Now, their faces were as dark as it could be. However, before Wang Qingjiang and Yuan Hongming's faces became darker, Wang Dong's voice sounded again. How can it be fake? Didn't you say that you wanted to know my opponents in the hunting school selection? She's one of them. Chapter 1605. Wang Qingjiang was pleased and proud that his uncle was one of the top 100 Special Forces soldiers from country Z, who could participate in the hunting school selection. Therefore, Wang Qingjiang used this to be extremely arrogant at the beginning. But what did his uncle say to him? His uncle said that Yun Jian was one of the top 100 Special Forces soldiers from country Z who could participate in the hunting school selection? And with Yun Jian's ability, it was guaranteed that she would be one of the top 3 candidates to go to the hunting school? Yun Jian was also a Special Forces soldier? Then what level was Yun Jian's ability at? Initially, Wang Qingjiang was proud that his uncle was able to join the hunting school and the Special Forces in country Z. However, after what Wang Qingjiang's uncle, Wang Dong, said to Yun Jian, the only thing Wang Qingjiang could boast about was destroyed. Yun Jian was that kind of person. And Wang Qingjiang just said that if he wanted his uncle Wang Dong's autograph, he would only give it to those who didn't get along with him if they kissed him. It was obvious that Wang Qingjiang was trying to woo Yun Jian when he said that just now, but now, what he said was as foolish as it could get. Wang Qingjiang felt his face hurt. Phew! Master, I'm done with the horse stance in half an hour. Zhang Xiaofeng didn't say a word from the beginning. Even when his classmates, Yuan Hongming, and the others appeared, Zhang Xiaofeng didn't say a word. Zhang Xiaofeng only spoke after he finished the horse stance. Continue after 10 minutes of rest. Yun Jian ignored Yuan Hongming, Wang Qingjiang, and the others and only nodded at Wang Dong. She would give some face to Gu Yunjian's people. Oh yeah, when do you plan to go to the training ground? Wang Dong glanced at Yun Jian and asked. 5 days later, Yun Jian replied briefly. In front of Wang Qingjiang and the others, Wang Dong immediately smiled at Yun Jian and continued to ask, You're determined to get a spot in the hunting school, aren't you? The hunting school. Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and the rest knew about the quota for the hunting school. There were a total of 100 people in the selection field this time, but only 3 could represent Z country. And what kind of place was the hunting school? You have to sign a life or death waiver when you enter the school. If he wanted to enter the hunting school, he had to sign a life and death agreement. That meant that if he died in the hunting school, it would have nothing to do with the hunting school. Moreover, the mortality rate of the hunting school was as high as 80%. After he graduated from the hunting school, his strength would also rise to a whole new level. These were things that Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and the others could only tell him, but they didn't dare to imagine it themselves. Under everyone's gaze, Yun Jian nodded. Her bright and beautiful eyes flashed with a hint of determination. Then, in front of everyone, she said to Wang Dong, Yes, I'm determined to get a spot in the hunting school. Hearing this, Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and the rest were even more shocked. People will die in that place. Wang Qingjiang looked at Yun Jian's beautiful face and kindly reminded her. Who wasn't afraid of death? Wasn't she? Yuan Hongming, as well as all the boys and girls with Wang Qingjiang and the rest, looked at Yun Jian in disbelief. That's right, people will die in the hunting school. Wasn't she afraid? Just when Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and the rest looked at Yun Jian suddenly licked her red lips. She broke into a cold smile. Chapter 1606. When Yun Jian said this, her tone was extremely arrogant. If she, Yun Jian, could not survive the hunting school, then she was not worthy of being a Special Forces soldier. It was not as if ordinary people did not know how terrifying the hunting school was. It was a hunting school. A school with a mortality rate as high as 80%. Even if you are a Special Forces soldier who can participate in the hunting school selection, what gives you the confidence to say that you can survive in a place like the hunting school? There are so many outstanding Special Forces soldiers in the world. Who do you think you are? I think it's a serious problem for you to even get a place to go to the hunting school in country Z. A girl next to her heard what Yun Jian said and could no longer bear to see Yun Jian in the limelight, so she argued loudly. This girl who spoke up for Yun Jian was with Wang Qingjiang. Girls usually like to be in the limelight. The girl was 169 meters tall. Among the girls, she was considered a tall and slender beauty. Usually, when she was with Wang Qingjiang and Yuan Hongming, this girl was always in the limelight. However, just now, Yun Jian was in the limelight, so the girl could no longer hold it in and wanted to refute Yun Jian. The girl's name was Lin Susu. Her looks were quite average, but her face was covered with rouge and makeup. Although she did not look good, she felt that it was very good. If she can't get a place, there will be no special forces soldier who can represent country Z in the hunting school. Hearing Lin Susu's words, Wang Dong, who was standing next to her, was very unhappy. Wang Dong refuted Lin Susu almost immediately. To Wang Dong, Yun Jian was the symbol of strength. Lin Susu pursed her lips after being refuted by Wang Dong. However, Lin Susu was not happy at all. I know, didn't you say that she is the daughter of an officer? You are obviously trying to please her by saying that. As a special forces soldier, you are really embarrassing. Lin Susu was rendered speechless by Wang Dong's retort. She clenched her fists, suddenly recalling how Wang Dong had addressed Yun Jian as Officer Ji's daughter. Since she was the daughter of an officer, then Wang Dong was a subordinate. It was not impossible for Wang Dong to please Yun Jian. Moreover, the possibility of Wang Dong wanting to please Yun Jian was very high. Even Lin Susu herself felt that she was very smart to be able to think of this. Bool ****. My uncle wouldn't say that. Although Wang Qingjiang had doubted Yun Jian in the beginning, he was proud of his uncle. Therefore, although Wang Qingjiang was on Lin Susu's side, he would immediately refute Lin Susu when necessary. I don't believe you. Officials always protect each other. She is the daughter of an officer and has a reliable father, so. Lin Susu was about to say something when she heard Lin Susu's words. Yun Jian's eyes shone as she caught sight of a slender figure outside the park. It was Qing Yu. Qing Yu was strolling over. The moment she saw Yun Jian, she nodded at Yun Jian and greeted, Sister Jian. Sister Jian? Sister? Other than Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini, everyone else was taken aback. Lin Susu, in particular, stood out more than anyone else. Amidst everyone's shock, Yun Jian gestured at Qing Yu and the latter told Yun Jian in front of everyone, Sister Jian, it's as expected. Sister Jian, it's just as you expected. The dozen snipers that Blood Doll sent to kill you last time were just to test your skills. Just as Qing Yu finished, she was drowned out by Wang Dong's soul-stirring voice. Wang Dong widened his eyes in shock and exclaimed at Yun Jian and Qing Yu in front of everyone. Chapter 1607. Once Wang Dong said that, everyone around them was dumbfounded. Yun Jian was killed by a sniper? How did she manage to survive? She was still standing here alive. What did this mean? It meant that she was strong enough to avoid the sniper's attack. If one were to ask, a sniper would usually kill someone without making a sound. Before a sniper killed a target, it was impossible for them to tell their target that they were coming to kill them, so run quickly, right? When a sniper killed someone, they aimed directly at them and ran away after a headshot when the person appeared. If Yun Jian was killed by a sniper and still managed to realize that the sniper was shooting her, it could only mean one thing. That was her vigilance and insight, which were extremely powerful and exquisite. Therefore, Qing Yu's words were a direct reflection of this. That was how strong Yun Jian's ability was. Lin Susu's expression changed as if she had just eaten dog poop before everyone's eyes. Qing Yu's words were a clear indication of how strong Yun Jian was. Wang Dong was only surprised for a moment before he stopped showing an exaggerated expression. After all, when Yun Jian escaped from the dungeon back then, there were so many people with machine guns aimed at her. Yun Jian had killed the guards with machine guns in such a dangerous place and led them out of the dungeon. Snipers were scary because they could snipe you from a high vantage point when you couldn't even detect them. Yun Jian's ability, however, could definitely take them on. Blood Doll's sniper isn't enough to threaten my sister Jian. Qing Yu scoffed and said. Qing Yu looked sweet, but when she spoke, there was an eerie chill in her voice. It rendered Lin Susu, who despised Yun Jian's ability just now, speechless. I didn't expect you to be so good. Wang Qingjiang decided to take back his previous words and hit on Yun Jian officially. Hence, Wang Qingjiang spoke to Yun Jian. Yun Jian ignored him. Ahem. I underestimated you before. Let's be friends officially. You see, you're also a special forces soldier. My uncle is also a special forces soldier. You two can take care of each other when you go to the hunting school's training ground. Wang Qingjiang began to use the most old-fashioned and vulgar way to strike up a conversation with Yun Jian. Yun Jian still didn't reply. At the same time, Yun Jian turned around and was about to leave the park. She even said to Zhang Xiaofeng, "Practice by yourself. I'll check your progress next time." At this point, Yun Jian was already planning to walk out of the park. Only then did Wang Dong scratch his head, somewhat at a loss. Listening to his nephew's words, the meaning behind his words wasn't Yun Jian friends with his nephew, Wang Qingjiang? Just as Wang Dong was feeling puzzled, Yun Jian had already asked Qingyu to leave the park with her. This time, Wang Qingjiang was anxious. Wang Qingjiang might be short, about 5 to 6 centimeters shorter than Yun Jian, and he wasn't good-looking, but deep down, Wang Qingjiang wanted to find a girl who was more outstanding and better than him. To put it bluntly, Wang Qingjiang just wanted to be a gigolo who only knew how to eat white rice. It was a pity that his looks were nothing like a gigolo. "Hey, don't go. Let's be friends. Let's get along." Wang Qingjiang obviously wanted to flirt with Yun Jian. In his panic, he ran up to grab Yun Jian's hand with his short and ugly hand. However, before his hand could reach Yun Jian's delicate wrist, it was grabbed by a slender and well-defined hand. The slender and well-defined hand grabbed Wang Qingjiang's hand. His tall body looked down on Wang Qingjiang's 1.59 meters height and he flung Wang Qingjiang away in the next second. As he flung Wang Qingjiang away, he lifted his leg and sent Wang Qingjiang flying a few meters away with his long thigh. Chapter 1608. Wang Qingjiang was sent flying several meters by Si Yi's kick. He hurriedly covered his heart, which was about to jump out of his chest, and looked at Si Yi with pain and malevolence. "Your woman? She's your woman?" She didn't even show it on her face. "What right do you have to say that she's your woman?" Wang Qingjiang was indignant. He growled at Si Yi as he stood up and walked over to Yun Jian. He met eyes with Si Yi, who was standing in front of Yun Jian. Si Yi was 1.85 meters tall, while Wang Qingjiang was 1.59 meters tall. The height difference between the two of them was even bigger than the height difference between Yun Jian and Si Yi. Yun Jian was 1.65 meters tall, which was 6 centimeters taller than Wang Qingjiang. Wang Qingjiang looked directly at Si Yi, but he couldn't even see Si Yi's chin. As a boy, he was standing in front of Si Yi, and he even tried to force himself to look into Si Yi's eyes. This was simply too hilarious. Wang Qingjiang naturally realized that Si Yi was taller and more handsome than him. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and tiptoed slightly. Seeing that he couldn't gain any advantage in front of Si Yi, he turned his head to look at Yun Jian. After glancing at Yun Jian, Wang Qingjiang turned his head to look into Si Yi's eyes again. Then he said to Si Yi in a serious tone, "Teacher said that we can't discriminate against people." "The teacher said that I can't discriminate against anyone. Although I'm not tall enough and I'm not particularly good-looking, I won't be as unreasonable as you. I'm extremely possessive. People have the right to choose too. Looks and height can't make a living. At least she won't despise me like you do. If you don't believe me, you can ask her if she despises me. Will she choose me? I don't think she'll despise me. She'll definitely choose me." Wang Qingjiang grasped each and every word very well. If Yun Jian did not choose him, then it would mean that Yun Jian despised him for being short and ugly. Others would think that Yun Jian was a snobbish person. Wang Qingjiang didn't know about the relationship between Si Yi and Yun Jian. He thought that Si Yi and Yun Jian's relationship was just a pair of young men and women who were in love. To put it bluntly, in the eyes of Wang Qingjiang, Yuan Hongming, and the others, this kind of relationship was just a game, and they could snatch it away at any time. However, anyone who knew about Si Yi and Yun Jian's relationship would think otherwise. "Good job, Qingjiang. Looks like you've made up your mind to flirt with this girl." A boy beside him started to jeer again. His tone was full of bragging. Wang Qingjiang was really excited when he heard that. He stood on his tiptoes even harder, trying to be eye level with Si Yi, but he could barely reach Si Yi's shoulder. Wang Qingjiang thought that he was very smart. After what he said, Yun Jian would definitely choose him because she wanted to explain to the public that she was not looking down on him. Even if she did not choose him, She would not reject him too directly. After all, which girl would not want to embarrass herself in public? Just as Wang Qingjiang was waiting for Yun Jian's reply, Yun Jian's voice came out of nowhere, shocking Wang Qingjiang and the rest. Stupid and ignorant brat. After saying that, Yun Jian turned to call Qingyu over and grabbed Siyi's hand to leave the park with Siyi. Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini, who were behind them, were not in a hurry to leave. Zhang Xiaofeng still had to train by himself for a while. Although Chen Sini bickered with Zhang Xiaofeng every day, she would still stay with him until Zhang Xiaofeng was done with his training. Wait, what do you mean by this? Are you really going to choose him because of my looks? Wang Qingjiang could not take it anymore when he saw that Yun Jian was about to leave. He quickly shouted at Yun Jian. Yun Jian's eyes flickered when she heard Wang Qingjiang's straightforward words. Her lips curled into a red arc as she turned around with a smirk. Wang Qingjiang thought that Yun Jian was going to change her mind when he saw that. Chapter 1609. He had a lot of stamina? A lot of stamina? Was she referring to him? Cough cough. Ce, who wanted to stand up for Yun Jian, coughed lightly. His large palm held Yun Jian's hand firmly as he stood beside Yun Jian with his head lowered, looking at her exquisite side profile, thinking that she was telling him that he had a lot of stamina. Ce thought. He should really work harder. His Xiao Jian had praised him so much. If he did not work hard and blossom, how was he going to bear fruit? He wanted her to give birth to a bunch of children for him. Hearing what she said, Ce lowered his head slightly with a smirk. He wanted Xiao Jian to give birth to a football team for him. It was not enough. Were the two of them enough? It was better to live and grow old together. No. His Xiao Jian would give birth to something bad. If his Xiao Jian fell sick from giving birth, he probably would not be able to rest easy for the rest of his life. You guys? Both of you? Everything else aside, Wang Qingjiang was really getting the wrong idea. Yun Jian and Ce? Yun Jian and Ce. Both of them were already. Most importantly, what Yun Jian said just now was an obvious and deliberate contrast to what she had said. Did that mean that Yun Jian said that he definitely could not do it? What about the opposite? Men usually hated being told that they could not do it, so Wang Qingjiang nearly spat blood when he heard what Yun Jian said. Most importantly, Yun Jian had said what she said just now in front of so many people without blushing or skipping a beat. You guys. Wang Qingjiang pointed at Yun Jian and Ce, his hand trembling as if he was bent over by a spring. The trembling was astounding. Xiao Jian loves that I have a lot of stamina. Ce, continued Yun Jian shamelessly, ignoring Wang Qingjiang, who was trembling in exasperation as he wrapped his arm around Yun Jian's slender waist and lowered his head slightly. His height and figure that matched Yun Jian was enough to dazzle the eyes of everyone present. Then, he leaned close to Yun Jian's ear and moaned softly. Ce's action drove everyone even more crazy, especially Wang Qingjiang. A perfect match. Wasn't it referring to Yun Jian and Ce? Compared to this, Wang Qingjiang's previous actions were truly foolish to the extreme. Wang Qingjiang was irritated by Yun Jian and Ce's banter. That was not all. Ce added, Xiao Jian, let's go back to our home. The main point of Ce's home for both was too obvious and intentional. In spite of it, Wang Qingjiang was truly shocked by Ce's words. You guys are living together. Everyone present was shocked, but no one was as shocked as Wang Qingjiang. Yun Jian and Ce were living together? Why can't we live together when our parents have already approved of it? Ce was truly addicted to bragging as he looked straight at Yun Jian with a handsome smile. I heard from Officer Gu that he has a son-in-law he's set on. He said that once his daughter reaches legal age, he'll register at the Civil Affairs Bureau immediately. He even said that his son-in-law and his daughter have already gotten Country R's marriage certificate. Don't tell me that the son-in-law Officer Gu mentioned is you, young man? Wang Qingjiang was about to pass out from anger, but it was not enough. His uncle, Wang Dong, personally dealt him a critical blow. You guys even have a Country R marriage certificate? You guys are married. Wang Qingjiang glared at Yun Jian and Ce like he was about to vomit blood. He had not noticed it earlier, but he suddenly noticed that both Yun Jian and Ce were wearing wedding rings. At first, Wang Qingjiang thought that girls liked to wear such things, so he did not pay much attention. Now, however, these were probably Yun Jian and Si Yi's wedding rings. Chapter 16:10. When she saw the marriage certificate, Yun Jian wanted to facepalm again. He really couldn't bear to not keep this marriage certificate in his trouser pocket at all times. Not even for a second. Who in the world could bear to leave their marriage certificate at home at all times? Not even for a second. Besides Ce, there was probably no one else in the world who could do this, right? Ce's actions also shocked Wang Dong. This young man actually hid his marriage certificate in his pocket? Moreover, he even took it out to show off and then hid it back in his trouser pocket like a treasure. Wang Dong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. To be honest, other than Ce, no one else in the world could do what Ce did. Of course, this also made everyone present feel a very strong little bit. That was how much Ce treasured Yun Jian. He even hid his marriage certificate with Yun Jian like a treasure. Not to mention how much he doted on Yun Jian. Furthermore, Ce was so handsome. Not only was Ce handsome, but he also doted on Yun Jian to a whole new level. He was the object of envy of all the girls present. However, in the eyes of such a person, there was only Yun Jian's figure. His eyes were filled with her. Haha, you two are really loving. Even Wang Dong couldn't help but praise them. Wang Dong was Wang Qingjiang's uncle, but his character was completely different from Wang Qingjiang's. Wang Dong was 1.75 meters tall, and good-looking. Coupled with his current achievements, he was only in his 30s, so he could be considered a young and accomplished person. When he saw how loving Yun Jian and Ce were, Wang Dong couldn't help but praise them. It was only when he was done with his compliments that Wang Dong told Ce, "Young man, you have a bright future by doting on your woman. I have to learn from you too. When I have a girlfriend in the future, I have to dote on her too. I'll treat her as my sweetheart." Ce didn't react much to Wang Dong's words. To Ce, be it in front of others or behind others, Xiao Jian was the apple of his eye. "She's my life." Ce returned the words to Wang Dong. She was his life, and he would use his own life to protect hers. No matter if it was him as a divine lord or the current him. It was just like how he had given up on his godhead in her previous life, risking his soul being destroyed and almost falling, without any hesitation to save her, whose soul should have been destroyed. He had said that even if he were to die, he would die in her place. Even if her soul was scattered, he would be the one to bear it for her. After returning home from the park, Yun Jian and Ce parted ways with Qing Yu. Qing Yu skipped back to her place and went home to change before going on a date with Yun Yi. In the empty suite where the north wind howled, the pitiful single Gu Nianji hugged her pillow as she watched Qing Yu skip into the room to change into pretty clothes and go on a date with Yun Yi. When Yun Jian and Ce got home, they went to Mrs. Yang's house to look for Xiao Yunju and the others. Qin Yiru had gone back to the countryside to accompany Qin Fangfang, so she was not at home. Yun Jian and Ce went to Mrs. Yang's house to check on Xiao Yunju and the others. Seeing that they were happy at Mrs. Yang's place, Yun Jian went home with Ce without worry. Just as they reached home, Yun Jian received a piece of news. Xiao Yunju's biological mother in this life would be recovering and returning in 2 months. Xiao Yunju's biological mother in this life was a woman with a hard life. It was not easy for her to raise Xiao Yunju's physical body. Xiao Yunju's biological mother was stabbed and almost died the last time. Yun Jian sent her abroad for emergency treatment and saved her life. After recuperating for so long, she would be back soon. Would she take Xiao Yunju with her? What are you looking at? There were only Yun Jian and Ce at home. Ce saw Yun Jian looking down at a message on her phone, studying something. He hugged Yun Jian from behind. Yun Jian turned off her phone and shook her head lightly. Nothing. Just as Yun Jian turned off her phone, Ce looked at her lips that were as red as strawberries. He could not help but take out his belt to tie up Yun Jian's hands and raise them above her head. Chapter 16:11. Yun Jian was still mulling over the fact that Xiao Zhu's mother was back. When she came back to her senses, Ce had already lifted her hands and tied them up with his belt. What are you doing? Yun Jian blushed instantly, knowing what he was about to do to her. Her cheeks were as red as a monkey's butt. Doing you? Ce was very close to Yun Jian now, his breath almost spreading from the top of Yunjian's body. Yunjian was even more embarrassed now. Yunjian's cheeks were as red as an apple. Didn't you say that I'm energetic just now? Xiao Jian, don't you want to try? Ce asked as he reached inside Yunjian's clothes and grabbed a certain tender and plump part of Yunjian's body, getting close and pinching it. Yunjian's rosy cheeks made Ce like her even more. After holding it in for so long, he really could not hold it in this time. Xiao Jian, don't be nervous. Leave yourself to me. I'll be gentle if anything happens, Ce said softly as he nibbled on Yunjian's soft earlobe. Yunjian's cheeks were as red as blood. Don't talk, stick close to me. Ce had already taken off Yunjian's top. Just as Ce was about to go deeper, however, the phone in Yunjian's pants pocket buzzed. Seeing this, Yunjian's jubilation and exhilaration was washed away like a splash of water, turning into a puddle of water in an instant. Ce's arousal was quenched as well. F***CK. Ce punched the wall and cursed for the first time in his life. It was his first time being so furious and also his first time expressing his emotions so irrationally. In spite of it, only his Xiao Jian could see his emotions. Yunjian still took out her phone from her pocket. The moment she did so, her cheeks flushed and she tiptoed to kiss Ce on the lips. With the kiss, Ce's restlessness just now vanished. He grabbed Yunjian's hand at once, his dark and gloomy demeanor just now vanishing completely. It was only then that Yunjian answered the call. Yu Xiaoluo's anxious voice came from the other end of the phone. Yunjian, where are you now? The hunting school selection has been pushed forward again. I'm almost at your house now. Pack your essentials quickly and go to the gate. Go there now. Yu Xiaoluo's voice sounded urgent. Yunjian's eyes flickered and she nodded at Yu Xiaoluo under Ce's gaze. Even after he hung up, Ce's expression was still dark. Seeing that, Yunjian tiptoed and kissed Ce on the lips with pursed lips, mimicking how Ce kissed her in the past. She kissed him back for a while before letting go. Yunjian looked at the ground and said shyly, In the future, continue. In the future? This meant that Yunjian had given her silent consent and was certain that he could do these shameful things to her. Ce hugged her and whispered in her ear, Xiao Jian, I'm definitely going to eat you up next time. He really wanted to tear Yu Xiaoluo apart. Why did he have to call now of all times? In spite of it, Ce suppressed the thought for Yunjian when he remembered that his wife still needed Yu Xiaoluo. Buried in Ce's arms, Yunjian blushed as she felt his tenderness. 15 minutes later, Yunjian tidied herself up and carried a simple bag before walking to the road from the house. Yu Xiaoluo drove the car over and honked at where Yunjian was standing. Yunjian, over here. Come over quick. Yunjian glanced at the military jeep that Yu Xiaoluo was driving and saw 4 men and women in their 20s and 30s sitting in it. They were probably special forces soldiers heading to the selection field. Chapter 16:12. Fasten your seatbelts, we're leaving. Yu Xiaoluo smiled when he saw Yunjian hopping into the car. He then stepped on the accelerator and the jeep sped off. Yu Xiaoluo's military jeep was similar to Gu Yunjian's and could accommodate quite a number of people at once. There were 3 rows of seats in the military jeep. Other than Yu Xiaoluo himself, there were 4 other men and women. They were probably going to participate in the hunting academy selection like Yunjian. In comparison, Yunjian was surprisingly young. At that moment, the woman sitting beside Yu Xiaoluo in the passenger seat turned to look at Yunjian and whistled. Little girl, you're Team Monarch/God, right? I've heard of your name, but I can't tell what you're capable of just by looking at you. The woman had short hair and from the back, she looked like a tomboy. Not only did she lack the feminine charm of a woman, but she also had the domineering aura of a man. Right, I'm Su Mei. It's a very old-fashioned name. My nickname is Moldy, but I prefer that nickname. Don't laugh. Also, you can call me Sister Moldy. Su Mei introduced herself to Yunjian humorously. Haha. Moldy, don't scare the little girl. Little girls can't take scares. Little girl, if you're bullied by Moldy, I'll cover you. Ah. A handsome man who looked like a soldier patted Yunjian's shoulder and said. This man who looked like a soldier was called Su Wenming. Whether it was Su Mei or Su Wenming, what they said was purely a joke. When everyone gathered together, Their favorite thing to do was to joke and fool around. After all, it was true that working in the military was sometimes boring. However, when everyone gathered together, there was mutual trust between teammates. That was the most intimate and warm feeling they had. Other than Su Mei and Su Wenming, the other two were men. The oldest among them was Wang Buren, who was already 39 years old. The other one was the same as Su Mei and Su Wenming. He was also in his 20s, and his name was Dong Xiu. Su Mei, Su Wenming, Wang Buren, and Dong Xiu were recommended by Principal Ma of the Min City Military Academy by Yu Xiaoluo to participate in this hunting school. Including Yun Jian, Principal Ma recommended a total of 5 people to participate in the hunting school selection in Country Z. Of course, other than Principal Ma, who could nominate talents, other officers from all over the country who were at the same level as Principal Ma, or even higher than him, could nominate talents to participate in the Z Country hunting school selection. The reason why the selection was held in Z Country was because the mortality rate of the hunting school was too high. Before sending the special forces to the hunting school, they had to select the best talents, right? If he felt that a person was not bad and directly sent him to the hunting school, he would easily die in the hunting school if he was not strong enough. This also greatly increased the mortality rate. Hence, Z Country selection was held. Only the top 3 would be qualified to represent Z Country and be sent to the hunting school. The 5 people recommended by Principal Ma, including Yun Jian, could be considered enemies with the other officers' recommendations. If Yun Jian was selected as one of the 3 members to represent Z Country in the hunting school, Principal Ma's reputation would be greatly enhanced. Hence, as soon as Yun Jian arrived at the entrance of the selection, she was the center of attention from the members recommended by different officers. Team Monarch Slashing God was famous, but only in Zhe Province. Other than Zhe Province, even if people had heard of Yun Jian's name, they would not be shocked. Most of the people who came to the selection were from other provinces. Moreover, some of them knew that Yun Jian was good. Not only would they not be impressed, they would even make things difficult for Yun Jian. Hence, as soon as Yun Jian got out of the car, she became the center of attention of a large group of special forces from different provinces. There was even a special forces soldier who was about 30 years old with medium height and build who circled Yun Jian a few times before teasing Yun Jian in front of everyone. "Little sister, you have come to our selection field to select a place to go to the hunting school. Everyone, take it easy. Don't hurt the little girl during the competition." Chapter 16:13. Stop laughing. Everyone gather. Listening to the mockery directed at Yun Jian by people from different regions, Yu Xiaoluo walked over with a grim face and growled. Although Yu Xiaoluo was young, his official position was higher than everyone present. Most importantly, Yu Xiaoluo was the person in charge of this selection. To put it bluntly, Yu Xiaoluo was one of the judges of the selection. Therefore, the people who were laughing at Yun Jian immediately froze and no longer dared to laugh. Yun Jian looked very young. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that she was underage. The people who came here were not young. The oldest one was already in his 40s, close to his 50s. The youngest ones were Su Mei, Su Wenming, and Dong Xiu. Of course, even if Su Mei, Su Wenming, and Dong Xiu were considered young, they were still at least 25 years old. After all, those who could go to the hunting school must have a certain level of strength. Today was just a selection to select 3 members who could represent Country Z to go to the hunting school. Therefore, the people who came were not young. Usually, those who were strong had to go through a few years of training to achieve great achievements. By the time they reached this level, they were not young anymore. Therefore, when the group of people saw Yun Jian, it was not without reason that they laughed and mocked her. Damn it, this group of people is doing it on purpose. Just ignore them. Here, Sister Mold will protect you. Su Mei saw that the group of people swaggered away after Yu Xiaoluo finished talking to them. She stood beside Yun Jian, patted Yun Jian's shoulder, and snorted. "Do you want your little sister to grow moldy with you by protecting her? Go away, it's more useful to have your brother protect you." Su Wenming came over and joined in. He even joked with Su Mei. After Su Wenming came over and said this, Su Mei slapped Su Wenming away. Then, she opened her mouth and glared at Su Wenming. "Brother Wenming, are you being civilized today?" Su Mei bickered with Su Wenming and gritted her teeth. Dong Xiu, who was standing at the side with a delicate face, coughed lightly to cover her laughter. Yun Jian only raised her red lips slightly and didn't say much. Come, come, come. Everyone is here. Gather. Find your own formation. Let's first briefly explain the rules of this selection. At this moment, a middle-aged man in his 40s with a square face and a serious expression stood not far away and waved at all the Special Forces soldiers present. This middle-aged man was the main person in charge of this selection, and his name was Duan Muqiao. There were a total of 100 people from the Special Forces participating in the selection, and all of them had arrived. Hearing Duan Muqiao's beckoning, Yun Jian followed the crowd and casually lined up with Su Mei and Su Wenming. Since everyone is here, then I'll first talk about the process of our selection this time. Duan Muqiao cleared his throat and officially opened his mouth. Everyone here is the best Special Forces from all over the country. At the same time, we all share the same dream, which is to enter a hunting school to further our studies. As for me, I won't beat around the bush. Our selection has its own rules. Everyone knows what kind of place the hunting school is and how high the mortality rate is. Therefore, in our selection, any one of you may be eliminated at any time during the competition. I'll say something that no one likes to hear, but it must be said. That is, if you're not strong enough, in this month's selection competition, those who lose will stop the competition midway and pack up and leave. This is for your own good. If you're not strong enough, only death awaits you if you're sent to the hunting school. Also, from the moment you enter the selection, your previous name will no longer be used. We'll give you a new random number. In this month, the number will be your name. The moment she received the number, Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. Her number was 006. Chapter 16:14. Duan Muqiao cleared his throat and continued when he saw that all the numbered cards had been randomly distributed to each member. The number in your hands will be your name in the selection field. From now on, unless you are eliminated from the selection field, the number in your hands will be your name. Do you hear me clearly? We hear you clearly. Everyone replied loudly. Hearing this, the person in charge of the selection field, Duan Muqiao, nodded lightly. Then, he turned around and handed over some instructions to the other person in charge before leaving. Duan Muqiao was not only the person in charge of the selection field this time, but he was also the overall person in charge of the selection field. As the overall person in charge, Duan Muqiao would not appear at the selection field all the time. Today was the start of the selection field, so Duan Muqiao appeared here to announce the rules. After Duan Muqiao left, Yu Xiaoluo waved at everyone. Everyone, enter the selection field and pack up your things. Our selection competition will begin soon. The moment they heard that the qualifiers were about to start so soon and that there was no chance for them to take a breather, everyone present took a deep breath. However, no one said a word of objection. No one would wait for you to adapt to the environment. If you said a word of no, you would be directly kicked out of the selection field. Yun Jian, what's your number? Su Mei asked excitedly in Yun Jian's ear after the assembly was dismissed. 006, Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and uttered nonchalantly. 006. This number was exactly the same as the number she had when she first entered in Hun organization in her previous life. In her previous life, when she first entered in Hun organization, she used numbers to refer to each other. Only after a small number of people survived were they allowed to use their own numbers. Hey, we're in luck. My number is 099. This number is second from the bottom. That's good enough. Su Wenming came up from the side and mocked himself with a smile. You can go in now. Wang Buren, the oldest and most composed of the five, spoke up. Wang Buren's words carried a thick sense of awkwardness. Therefore, as soon as Wang Buren finished speaking, everyone present obeyed and walked through the entrance of the selection field. Just as she was about to enter the venue, Yun Jian's phone beeped. She opened the message and saw that it was a message from Chu Ning. It was clear as day. When he opened it, he saw the content of the message. Yun Jian, you have to do your best. Although we can't be there to cheer you on, we, Team Monarch, will support you from behind. I believe you can do it. Seeing this message, Yun Jian narrowed her eyes slightly. She didn't reply, but squeezed her phone and hid it back in her pocket. Then, she followed Su Mei and the others into the selection field. Everyone who has a mobile phone or electronic device, put it here. Mobile phones are not allowed during the selection period. A man in military uniform stood there and shouted with a loudspeaker. Little sister, are you here to participate in the selection with us? Don't you think we should go easy on you? Ha! There was a group of people who were dressed decently. They were all in their 20s and looked average, but they were eyeing Yun Jian's team like a ruffian. One of them, a man who had just turned 25 and was rather good-looking, was looking at Yun Jian with a teasing and disdainful gaze. Like Yun Jian and her team, this group of people came from the same military officer. They were the ones who had mocked Yun Jian at the entrance just now. This guy's name is Zhou Duanjing. His military officer isn't on good terms with our Vice-Chancellor Ma. He's always picking fights, so just ignore him. Wang Buren stood beside Yun Jian and told Yun Jian. A portion of people who came to the selection field were not really going to the hunting school. They were only here to obstruct those who were at odds with them, like Zhou Duanjing and his team. Chapter 16:15. After Yun Jian responded, she placed the phone in the box in front of the man in military uniform who was shouting through the loudspeaker. The selection competition lasted for a month. During this month, cell phones were not allowed to appear. Yun Jian had no intention of using a cell phone, so she placed the phone in the box easily. Just as she placed the phone in the box and was about to turn around, Zhou Duanjing and the others, who had spoken to Yun Jian contemptuously, blocked Yun Jian's way. What are you doing? When Su Mei saw this, she pushed through the crowd and leaned toward Yun Jian. Su Wenming, Wang Buren, and Dong Xiu also stood in front of Yun Jian without hesitation. Su Mei and the others thought that Yun Jian was their junior and needed to be protected. They knew that Yun Jian must have some ability to be here. There were about 10 people in Zhou Duanjing's group. It was obvious that the military officer who sent Zhou Duanjing's group to the selection competition was stronger than Principal Ma, so he was given more slots than Principal Ma. At this moment, Zhou Duanjing was surrounding Yun Jian's group. With Zhou Duanjing as the leader, the group surrounded Yun Jian's group of 5. After a while, Zhou Duanjing looked at Yun Jian contemptuously and said, "Little girl, I think you know what's good for you. How about you leave the selection competition in 3 days? I'll reward you with candy." Zhou Duanjing looked at Yun Jian from the corner of his eyes as he spoke. "Leave in 3 days? Are you threatening her to forfeit? You're too." Su Mei was inexperienced after all. She stared at Zhou Duanjing with wide eyes. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, Wang Buren held her back. Wang Buren was already 39 years old. He had been with Principal Ma for many years, so he knew a lot about this kind of thing. Zhou Duanjing's group came over to threaten them because they had more people. Of course, the reason why Zhou Duanjing's group would openly target Yun Jian, Su Mei, and the others was because of the person who sent them here. It was because the person who recommended Zhou Duanjing and the others to participate in the selection was at odds with Principal Ma, who recommended Yun Jian and the other 4 to participate in the selection. This led to the current situation. The reason why Wang Buren didn't want Su Mei to continue talking about this was because it wasn't appropriate to talk about it. After all, Zhou Duanjing and the others had the advantage in numbers. "Little sister, let me give you a piece of advice. If you know what's good for you, then obediently leave. You won't get a single spot in this year's hunting school. If you're smart, hand it over, or else." Zhou Duanjing didn't continue. However, everyone present knew what Zhou Duanjing was about to say. "All right, let's go," Zhou Duanjing said rudely. Turning around, the group headed back to their residence. However, just as they took 2 steps, a voice that was as pleasant as the sound of nature came from behind them, but it was also ear-piercing. "If people like you enter the hunting school, you will definitely die." This voice was as pleasant as the sound of nature, but every sentence was as sharp as needles. It immediately attracted the attention of Zhou Duanjing and the others who were walking back to their residence. When Zhou Duanjing and the others turned around and heard that these words came from Yun Jian, who was the youngest and supposedly the weakest, Zhou Duanjing was stunned for a moment. Even Su Mei, Su Wenming, and the other 3 who were standing beside Yun Jian couldn't help but be stunned. "Hey, listen, what did the little sister say? She said that if people like us enter the hunting school, we will definitely die." Zhou Duanjing said rudely after he came back to his senses. This sentence once again attracted the attention of all the spectators around them. As Zhou Duanjing spoke, he even whistled softly. Then, he looked at Yun Jian and continued to speak to Yun Jian while shaking the tips of his toes. From what the little sister is saying, you've been to the hunting school. Ah ha ha ha. When Zhou Duanjing said this, everyone around them laughed. Zhou Duanjing's words were obviously denying Yun Jian. A little sister who was as young as a fart had been to the hunting school? What kind of joke was this? However, just as everyone present was chuckling, they heard Yun Jian's cold voice coming from the opposite side, which struck everyone's heartstrings. Chapter 16:16. Initially, she thought that Yun Jian would be deflated and unable to say anything after what she said. After all, the hunting school was located in a secluded place. Apart from the special forces who were sent to the hunting school for further training, the rest of the people, including the leaders, were not qualified to see the scenery of the hunting school. Most of the things that happened in the hunting school were usually told to the outside world by the special forces who had completed their training in the hunting school. Apart from that, the hunting school and the outside world were two different places that were tightly guarded. Of course, there were one or two people internationally who could enter and leave the hunting school as they pleased, fooling the principal of the hunting school. Of course, there were only one or two of them. Among these two people, the most representative one was Slaying God, the #1 assassin on the international ranking. Therefore, after listening to what Yun Jian said, Zhou Duanjing and everyone present looked at Yun Jian as if she was a joke. Pfft, little girl, how old are you? You said you've been to the hunting school? Zhou Duanjing was choking with laughter. At that moment, there was no end to the laughter. Yun Jian, ignore them. Let's go. Even Su Mei could not take it when he spoke to an underage child in such a tone. She grabbed Yun Jian's hand and walked toward the dormitory. Everyone present was left laughing so hard that they were choking. Yun Jian did not say anything else. Sometimes it was better to use actions to prove things rather than using words. The dormitory here was unisex. Of course, every bedroom was separated into male and female bedrooms. In other words, one of the bedrooms next door might be occupied by a woman, while the other one might be occupied by a man. However, in a bedroom with 4 beds, either 4 men or 4 women would be occupied by 4 men. Yun Jian and Su Mei walked into a girl's bedroom together. One bedroom here could accommodate 4 people. Girls only made up a single-digit number of people who came to participate in the preliminaries. Among them, there was no lack of people who relied on their connections to get in. For example, when Yun Jian and Su Mei walked into the bedroom, they saw a woman around 21 or 22 years old lying on the bed with her phone in her hand, chatting intimately with the person on the other end of the phone. Hey dear, I'm here. I'm in this dormitory. This place is so broken. Well, for you, I'm willing to stay here. Since you want to know the environment here, you should come here yourself. You're making me experience it for you. I can't even run 500 meters. When I go back, you have to make it up to me. Not only did this woman not hand over the phone, but she was also happily chatting with the person on the other end of the phone. There were only 3 people living in Yun Jian's dormitory. In addition to Yun Jian's dormitory, there was another female dormitory next door, which was full of 4 people. In other words, there were only 7 girls out of the 100 spots. Among them, there was no lack of people who had snuck in through connections. All members, listen to my order. Please put on your military uniforms and gather at the gate in 10 minutes. If you don't put on your military uniforms and gather at the gate in 10 minutes, you will not have dinner tonight. An officer's shout came from the door. After the people in each dormitory heard the order, they started to get busy. The girl who was talking on the phone quickly hung up and changed her clothes. What the hell? Not even giving him food? This was too cruel. Did they have to be so cruel? The girl complained as she spoke. She looked as if she had been treated inhumanely. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. At this moment, she seemed to have found her old self in the organization. Cruel? Not being able to put on their military uniforms in 10 minutes and running to the gate without food was considered cruel? In her previous life, when she was in the organization, she had to put on her military uniform and go to the gate in half a minute. If she didn't do it, the machine gunners at the gate would enter and kill the people who were still in the dormitory. Half a minute later, The officer holding the loudspeaker blinked and suddenly saw Yun Jian standing in front of him in her military uniform. He was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but be shocked. Only half a minute had passed. Normally, the fastest man would need about 2 minutes to put on his military uniform and run out. Why did this little girl only need so little time to change and come out so quickly? Chapter 16-17. The military officer with the loudspeaker was indeed stunned, but he quickly reacted and swallowed hard. He gave Yun Jian a thumbs up and said, "Little girl, you're good." Yun Jian just blinked and didn't say anything. 2 minutes later, the fastest group of people changed their clothes and ran out of their bedrooms. When they saw the small figure standing in the open space from afar, this group of men fiercely stomped their feet and almost spat out the word F***ck, in fright. The group of men who changed their clothes and came out of their bedrooms all stomped their feet. The military officer with the loudspeaker saw the group of people standing there in a daze. He thought about how Yun Jian changed her clothes and came out of her bedroom so quickly. Were they really no match for an underage little girl? The military officer standing there shouted at the group of people who were stunned. "What are you standing there for? Did you all go to take a dump? You all took so long to come out. Don't you want to eat dinner?" They couldn't even compete with a teenage girl. Only then did this group of people jog over and join the team. Zhou Duanjing was also in the group. Because the military officer was there, Zhou Duanjing didn't dare to say anything. He just glared at Yun Jian. 12 minutes later, everyone had finally arrived. The last person came out after 12 minutes. That person was the woman who slept with Yun Jian. Her name was Nan Lin Lin. Nan Lin Lin came out with light makeup. When she ran over, she thought she wasn't late and ran into the team happily. But as soon as she ran into the team, she was shouted at by the military officer with the loudspeaker. "You, get out of the team. You can't eat dinner tonight." Why? Nan Lin Lin was stunned. "You're late." The officer yelled at Nan Lin Lin without showing any pity for the fairer sex. After shouting, the military officer didn't look at Nan Lin Lin's expression. He turned around and looked at the crowd. "You guys, you can't even compare to a little girl. Do you know that the little girl only used half a minute to change her clothes and come out? But what about you guys? All of you are dragging your feet. If you enter the hunting school like this, it will be a problem whether you can come out alive." The officer's anger was not without reason. What kind of place was the hunting school? Needless to say, the officer was doing this for the sake of everyone present. Half a minute? No, officer, are you saying that she only took half a minute to change and come out? The people around were stunned after hearing the officer's words, especially Zhou Duanjing and the others who had just mocked and ridiculed Yun Jian. At this moment, they were dumbfounded. "I saw it with my own eyes. How could it be fake?" After the officer finished speaking, he immediately continued. "Let's not talk about other things first. Let's get to know each other. My surname is Fong. You can call me Officer Fong. For the next month, I will accompany you and watch you train. All of your missions will be issued by me personally. I believe that at the entrance just now, our general manager has already told you some things about this. I won't say much here." Speaking until here, Officer Fong gestured to the few officers beside him and asked them to distribute the SOS device in their hands to everyone present. Officer Fong waited for everyone to hold the device in their hands before he continued speaking to the crowd. "For your competition, we will use the strictest method. The only thing we can guarantee is that we won't harm your lives. This is the SOS device. You can activate it anytime and anywhere and then give up the qualification for the preliminaries. However, I still suggest that you don't give up so easily." Officer Fong had just finished speaking when a gotcha sound was heard. Everyone suddenly heard the sound and looked towards the source of the sound. They saw Yun Jian throwing the SOS device in her hand to the ground and stomping on it hard, crushing it on the spot. Seeing this, everyone present exclaimed, "What the F***ck? Are you dumb?" Zhou Duanjing, who had surrounded Yun Jian just now, couldn't help but ridicule. "Why did you crush it? Don't you want to leave yourself a way out and a chance to choose to give up?" Officer Fong was also shocked as he asked Yun Jian. Under everyone's gaze, Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. She calmly said something that made everyone's blood boil, but no one had the guts to say it. Only when I destroy my way out and only have the way forward to survive will I give it my all. Chapter 16:18. Yunjian's words resounded through the clouds. Her heavenly voice made everyone present respect her. In a desperate situation, only those who destroyed all their paths of retreat would give their all in the face of a desperate situation. Yunjian's words were the truth. Yunjian's words shocked every Special Forces soldier present. A little girl in her teens was actually able to speak of such profound insights. How could he say such shocking words? What exactly had she experienced? Some people might never have thought of this in their entire lives. Some people thought of it, but they would never dare to be like Yunjian. Most people were used to or liked to leave a path of retreat for themselves. But who would have thought that in order to succeed, they had to cut off their heart that was always thinking of taking a step back? Everyone at the scene was stunned, including Zhou Duanjing and the others who were very unfriendly towards Yunjian. For a moment, there was silence. Of course, not everyone was stunned. There was still one person who did not understand the meaning of Yunjian's words. That person was Nan Linlin. Nan Linlin grew up in the palm of her parents' hands. Her parents were both soldiers. She was born in a military family and her status was not low. Therefore, Nan Linlin was able to use her connections to enter the selection field. Nan Linlin did not have any strength at all. What path of retreat? You're a girl who wants to fight and kill every day. Don't you feel ashamed? Nan Linlin's lips twitched. She rolled her eyes and stood on the spot with her arms crossed. After saying this, Nan Linlin placed her hands that were painted with nail polish on her delicate face like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. Women should treat themselves better. Go out and put on makeup or something. Fight and kill by yourself, but you still have to bring men along to fight and kill. I've never seen such a person before. As she spoke, Nan Linlin shook her head at Yunjian and finished her assessment as if she was mumbling to herself. At this moment, everyone who was shocked by Yunjian suddenly came to their senses. When they came to their senses, they wouldn't feel that Yunjian's words were as shocking as they were at the beginning. You still have the nerve to say that you put on makeup? Where is this place? This is a training ground, not a place for you to put on makeup. I'll give you 10 minutes to clean up the mess on your face right now. Otherwise, you won't be allowed to eat for the rest of the day. When Officer Fong heard Nan Linlin talking to herself, he was so angry that he wanted to hit her. However, he forced himself to hold it in and growled in his calmest voice. Why can't I put on makeup? You didn't say that I couldn't put on makeup before I came in. Nan Linlin was still unconvinced and shouted back at Officer Fong. Officer Fong didn't know how to communicate with this young lady. He clenched his fists and forced himself to calm down. Then, he turned his head and announced to everyone present. All of you, go pack up and have dinner. We'll officially start tomorrow morning. After Officer Fong finished speaking, he turned around and continued to reason with Miss Nan Linlin. As for what Nan Linlin said about her just now, Yunjian felt that it didn't hurt at all. She turned around and walked towards the dormitory. Yunjian's long ponytail swayed with the wind. Her back view looked very energetic. Zhou Duanjing and a dozen other people walked over and surrounded Yunjian. Hey little girl, you're Yunjian, right? Zhou Duanjing looked at Yunjian while shaking his legs. After he finished speaking, Zhou Duanjing continued to speak to Yunjian without waiting for Yunjian's reply. No matter what philosophy you say, you'll never get a place in the hunting school. If you don't want to leave with injuries, then get out of here. Haha. With that, Zhou Duanjing snapped his fingers and turned around to leave like a ruffian. Just as Zhou Duanjing turned around, he suddenly felt someone kick the back of his knee. Then, he couldn't help but kneel forward. Chapter 16:19. Yunjian kicked Zhou Duanjing to the ground. Although Zhou Duanjing was kneeling on the ground, he did not feel any pain. He turned around and glared at Yunjian. Just then, the people who were with Zhou Duanjing quickly ran over and helped him up. After being kicked down by a girl, Zhou Duanjing naturally could not face it head-on. However, Zhou Duanjing only clenched his fists and said through gritted teeth, "Let's go." After standing up awkwardly, Zhou Duanjing turned his head and glared at Yunjian. He said loudly, "Just you wait." Then, Zhou Duanjing and the rest left the scene as fast as they could. Yunjian, are you okay? What happened just now only took a few breaths. When Su Mei and Su Wenming ran over, Zhou Duanjing had already left with his men. I'm fine. Yunjian retracted her gaze. Her dark eyes darkened as she turned around and went back to her room. At night, Yunjian lay on the top bunk bed in her room and stared at the ceiling. There were only 2 beds in the room, the top bunk and the bottom bunk. The bottom bunk was occupied by Su Mei and Nan Lin Lin. This is the place. Don't think of yourself as a pampered lady here. Since you're here, we'll treat you the same. No one will be treated differently. Your parents have told me that I won't give you any special privileges. So, you'll have to deal with your relationships well and work hard. Your parents want you to have the ability to protect yourself. You can train here. Also, if it's the elimination round, you can stay here as long as you can. Don't force yourself. At around 7:49 p.m. Chief Feng's voice came from Yunjian's room. Okay, Chief Feng. I understand. Thank you. After Officer Feng's voice fell, a light but obedient female voice came from the gate. This woman's voice sounded soft, but it was peaceful. Okay, go in. After he finished speaking, Chief Feng turned around and left. Then, Yunjian heard the door being pushed open. 2 seconds later, a gentle voice was heard. Hello everyone. My name is Luo Berry. There was no reply after he finished speaking. The girl who called herself Luo Berry paused. She was a little embarrassed, but she didn't back down. Hello everyone. I was sent here at the last minute. I guess you could say that I got in through the back door. But I'm not here to snatch anyone's spot. My parents thought that I was a little weak, so they sent me here, hoping that I could improve a little here. The girl who called herself Luo Berry was about 1.6 meters tall. She was very slim, but she looked a little weak. She was the type that people would want to protect. She looked like a 14-year-old girl, but in fact, she was 2 years older than Yunjian. She was already 18 this year. Hello, my name is Su Mei. My nickname is Moldy. You can call me Sister Moldy. Hearing Luo Mei's words, Su Mei immediately got up from the bed and extended her hand to greet Luo Mei. When Luo Berry heard Su Mei talking to her, she was a little excited. She quickly reached out and held Su Mei's hand. Hello. Hee. Yunjian. Yunjian didn't get up from the bed. She was still lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling as she spoke to Luo Berry. From the conversation between Luo Berry and Chief Feng at the door, she could tell that Luo Berry was the daughter of a rich family. She was here purely to train her skills. Moreover, Luo Berry admitted that she got in through the back door as soon as she entered. Her tone was a little tactful, and she had the elegant demeanor of a rich family's daughter. Yunjian had a good impression of her, so she introduced herself. Yunjian, what a nice name, hee. Luo Berry smiled at Yunjian, then stuck her tongue out mischievously. Chapter 16:20. Nan Lin Lin's roar was very loud. The room's soundproofing was not very good. Nan Lin Lin's roar could even be heard from the room next door. Nan Lin Lin's roar scared Luo Mei. Luo Mei took a step back in fright. She saw Nan Lin Lin glaring at her fiercely and roaring. Why are you yelling? You think you're so great just because you got in through the back door? You're making it sound like no one knows how to get in through the back door. Be careful or I'll ask my dad to kick you out. Nan Lin Lin threatened her right away. Luo Mei was really scared. Nan Lin Lin also got in through the back door, but her purpose was different from Luo Mei's. Nan Lin Lin came for her boyfriend. Her boyfriend wanted to enter the hunting grounds, but he refused to come in himself. Thus, Nan Lin Lin had to help her boyfriend check out the situation here. Who asked her to love her boyfriend so much? After being yelled at by Nan Lin Lin, Luo Mei was stunned. Ignore her. Come here. Su Mei glared at Nan Lin Lin and pulled Luo Mei to sit on her lower bunk bed. Yunjian slept on Su Mei's upper bunk. Now, there was only one upper bunk left in the room. It was right above Nan Lin Lin's bed. Nan Lin Lin was not young anymore. She was already 21 or 22 years old. She did not know how to give in to Luo Mei. Thank you. Sister Unlucky. Luo Mei was a little embarrassed to call Su Mei Sister Unlucky. However, seeing Su Mei's nonchalant expression, she did not back down. Haha, don't be afraid. Sister Unlucky will protect you here. Su Mei also liked Luo Mei, so she could not help but say this. Luo Mei's innocent face immediately blushed and she nodded vigorously at Su Mei. Then, Luo Mei poked her head out from the lower bunk and looked at Yun Jian's upper bunk bed. She met Yun Jian's eyes and nodded slightly at Yun Jian. Nan Lin Lin snorted. Then, she turned around and ignored Yun Jian and the others. She continued to call them dear, and continued to talk about her phone call. Wow, so you're all here for the Hunting Academy's quota? I feel that you're all so powerful. My parents think that I'm too weak, so they let me come here. Luo Mei looked at Su Mei and then at Yun Jian, asking with widened eyes. We're not as powerful as you think. Su scratched her head embarrassedly. To me, you're all powerful. Mei clapped her hands of the world naively. Let's sleep. We'll wake up at 5 tomorrow, Yun Jian said after listening to Luo Mei and Su Mei talk for a while. Okay. Berry nodded and changed into her pajamas. It was already 8 at night. Luo Mei turned Mei suddenly. Luo turned Mei was unlucky suddenly. Mei's, Mei are, Luo is Luo, is was, comma, at, like sleeping, I'm used to it, Yun Jian replied. All right. Luo Berry nodded slightly. Then she folded her clothes, got onto the top bunk, and went to sleep. The night was as still as water. It was 2:51 in the morning. It was almost 3 o'clock in the morning, the time when people slept the best and entered the deep sleep stage. Woo! 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 Suddenly the alarm went off. A familiar voice came from the speakers in every room. Everyone who heard the sound, please change your clothes within 5 minutes and gather at the door. If you don't change your clothes and gather at the door within 5 minutes, you'll be disqualified from the selection. Outside the door, Officer Fong was holding a loudspeaker. His voice was transmitted to every room. Basically, everyone would change into their pajamas before sleeping. There was no doubt about it, unless one was extremely lazy. Officer Fong looked at his watch. He estimated that Yun Jian would come out in 30 to 40 seconds. Officer Fong lowered his head to look at his watch. The moment he looked up, he saw Yun Jian's petite figure rushing towards him. The watch moved by 7 seconds and Yun Jian was already standing in front of him. Some people were still sleepy from his surprise attack. What about Yun Jian? She went from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds? Didn't she change her clothes before sleeping? Was she so alert? Even the advanced special forces couldn't achieve her speed. Chapter 16:21. Officer Fong was once again shocked by Yun Jian. However, he saw Yun Jian standing in front of him in a neat military posture. She did not look like someone who had just woken up from a dream. In response, Officer Fong could only swallow hard. He opened his mouth but no words came out. It was past 2 in the morning, and it was only a few minutes away from 3 in the morning. This was the time when a person was sleeping soundly. At this moment, the alarm suddenly sounded. Everyone was still in a daze, especially since it was the first time they had come to the selection field. However, Officer Fong had said that if they could not leave their dormitory and reach the gate within 5 minutes, they would be disqualified. At this moment, all the dormitories were agitated. One by one, they tried their best to put on their clothes. But even so, people would feel sleepy when they just woke up. Therefore, the first few men who ran out of the room only came out after about 3 to 4 minutes. They were all trained special forces, but they didn't expect Officer Fong to do such a thing. After all, this was something that had never happened before. Therefore, those who came out in about 3 minutes were already the fastest to react. They cussed in their hearts as they ran. What was going on? Why did he suddenly wake everyone up in the middle of the night? Luo Berry had already rushed out as fast as she could, but she was still a step too late. She took a little over 5 minutes. When she stood there, Luo Berry was already out of breath. Nan Lin Lin was not in a hurry at all. Although she did not put on makeup and come out, she still took about 10 minutes to gather at the gate. Officer Fong saw that everyone had already rushed out as fast as they could. His face darkened and he immediately relaxed his brows. Today is the first emergency gathering. Your performance is not bad, but it's not enough. In the future, The alarm will be sounded at any time and place. At that time, no matter what you are doing, you must put down the things in your hands, put on our military uniforms, and gather at the gate. Do you understand? Officer Fong said as he walked. Understood. Everyone replied loudly. All right, if you understand, go back to sleep. Today is the first day, so I won't punish anyone. But from now on, if there's an emergency gathering and you don't arrive at the gathering point within the stipulated time, you'll be disqualified and you'll have to pack up and leave. We don't accept idlers here. At this point, Officer Fong glared at Nan Lin Lin. Nan Lin Lin felt a little guilty after being glared at by Chief Fong. However, Nan Lin Lin suddenly glared back at Chief Fong and said confidently, Why are you looking at me? Nan Lin Lin, if you don't come out in time again, pack your luggage and go home. Chief Fong glanced at Nan Lin Lin. After being scolded, Nan Lin Lin rolled her eyes as she turned around and walked towards the dormitory. Are you crazy? Waking me up in the middle of the night. I'm already giving you face by coming out. Chief Fong naturally heard Nan Lin Lin's complaint, but he ignored it. Instead, he called out to Yun Jian, Yun Jian, wait a minute. Yun Jian was about to turn back to the dormitory, but when she heard Chief Fong's call, she stopped in her tracks and turned around. Seeing that Yun Jian was stopped, Zhou Duanjing and the others stopped in their tracks again. Perhaps it was because Yun Jian was quite outstanding during the day. Many people stopped in their tracks and looked over. Chief Fong asked her, Yun Jian, have you had any similar training before? No. Yun Jian denied it without hesitation. Seeing that Yun Jian's sincere gaze did not seem to be lying, Chief Fong lowered his eyes and said, All right, I saw you rush from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds. Normal people can't do that, so I was a little surprised. It seems that you're very alert when you're sleeping. As soon as Chief Fong finished speaking, Zhou Duanjing's silly voice was heard. Zhou Duanjing and the others were dumbfounded. Chapter 1622. Zhou Duanjing and the others stayed behind to listen to what Chief Fong was going to say to Yun Jian. Why was he being so secretive? Was he going to criticize Yun Jian? However, Zhou Duanjing and the others didn't expect that Chief Fong would say that Yun Jian only took 7 seconds to run out of the dormitory. Is this real? Why not? Do you think you're the only ones who are capable, but Yun Jian isn't? Hearing Zhou Duanjing's words, Su Mei was displeased. She immediately spoke to Zhou Duanjing in an unpleasant tone. Especially in front of Chief Fong, Su Mei was even more rude to Zhou Duanjing and the others. Zhou Duanjing swallowed his saliva. Just as he was about to reply, Chief Fong said, Yun Jian did run from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds. I won't talk nonsense about this. There was no need for Chief Fong to spout nonsense on Yun Jian's behalf. Zhou Duanjing was very displeased. Coincidentally, in front of Chief Fong, Zhou Duanjing thought of a way to pick on Yun Jian. He looked at Yun Jian and asked in front of Chief Fong, Then you don't change before going to bed? Is it so that you can look beautiful even when you sleep? Or is there another reason? Zhou Duanjing asked this purely to make things difficult for Yun Jian. After all, Yun Jian stood out too much. This made Zhou Duanjing very displeased. That's right. Yun Jian, why don't you change at night? Unexpectedly, Chief Fong was also interested in this matter. He turned to look at Yun Jian, narrowed his eyes, and asked Yun Jian with the same tone of interest. Chief Fong didn't want to know why Yun Jian didn't change at night. Instead, he wanted to know the reason why Yun Jian didn't change. As expected, Yun Jian didn't disappoint Chief Fong. She narrowed her eyes. Seeing that Chief Fong was sizing her up, her red lips curled up slightly. In the next second, she said calmly, Intentional accident, unintentional accident, can happen at any time. She gave a 12-word answer. Anyone who learned Chinese would know the meaning of these 12 words. Anyone who was smart would know that Yun Jian was referring to accidents that could happen at any time. As for her, she had to be vigilant at all times. This way, she wouldn't get into an accident. Chief Fong, Zhou Duanjing, and the others were once again shocked by Yun Jian's words. Yun Jian's performance was too outstanding. Her words and actions were awe-inspiring. However, every word that he said was very reasonable. However, before Chief Fong, Zhou Duanjing and the others could continue to be stunned, a malicious voice to say, Yunjian, are you crazy? Your bag's to the middle of the road. You to make I do and don't be to make a disgusting too. It's too to speak. At this moment, Nan Lin Lin was grabbing Yunjian's bag and walking over. As she walked, she unzipped Yunjian's bag very rudely and threw Yunjian's bag on the ground. Nan Lin Lin's action was completely intentional. It was as if she was punishing Yunjian for tripping over her bag and causing her to fall just now. However, when Nan Lin Lin unzipped the bag and threw it on the ground, the contents of the bag also scattered. There were all kinds of butterfly knives, as well as various blades and small knives hidden in the bag. There were more than 20 butterfly knives, all of which were collected by Mu Ying for many years. Later, she gave them to Yunjian. Everyone was shocked by the knives in Yunjian's bag. However, what was even more shocking was the wooden box that rolled down in front of them. The box was made of sandalwood. It looked very new, but it also had an ancient charm. Officer Fong was dumbfounded when he saw the box. He exclaimed on the spot. He exclaimed, Isn't this the legendary sandalwood box that all the international bigwigs fought over but to no avail? It ended up in the hands of Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. Chapter 1623. Nan Lin Lin's heart skipped a beat as she opened Yunjian's bag to reveal the contents. She was shocked by Officer Fong's frantic reaction when he saw the sandalwood box falling out of the bag. When everyone present heard what Officer Fong said, they were all shocked without exception. Sandalwood box? The sandalwood box was a mysterious box. Since its appearance, countless international businessmen, politicians, and bosses had been fighting for it. However, the legendary sandalwood box had fallen into the hands of Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. When the incident broke out, someone even released the picture of the sandalwood box being excavated from the ancient tomb. It even made the headlines of international newspapers. There were even well-known authoritative figures who released the news that the sandalwood box had been taken away by Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. As for whether this was true, no one knew until now. Therefore, Officer Fong, who had seen the picture of the sandalwood box in the international newspaper headlines, recognized the outstanding box at first glance. He was shocked when he looked at the box in front of him. What's a sandalwood box? Nan Lin Lin was shocked when she saw the frenzied look on everyone's faces. She suppressed her shock and asked, The sandalwood box is an antique. It was priceless, and its value could not be measured by money. Moreover, it's rumored that the sandalwood box has been taken away by Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. A man next to her saw that Nan Lin Lin didn't understand, so he explained. Priceless. Priceless? This stupid box? Nan Lin Lin was dumbfounded as she stared at the sandalwood box that rolled out of Yunjian's bag in disbelief. Don't look at the box. If it's really a sandalwood box, its value can't be measured with money. It's not something that can be bought with just a few billion. Someone added after Nan Lin Lin's question. A few billion. It's not enough to buy it. Nan Lin Lin was completely dumbfounded. Nan Lin Lin's family was quite rich. That was the reason why she had developed such an arrogant and despotic personality. Even so, a few billion was an astronomical figure to Nan Lin Lin's family. What was more, a few billion was not enough to buy this box. It's a high-end imitation. It's not real. Just as everyone present turned to look at Yunjian and waited for her explanation, Yunjian's words suddenly spread and reached everyone's ears. High-end textiles? Officer Fong was shocked. Yes. On the other side, Yunjian had already picked up the sandalwood box from the ground and quickly put it into her school bag. Then, she lied without blushing or skipping a beat. The sandalwood box was real. Ever since she returned from Yulong mainland and regained part of her memory, Yunjian had been carrying the sandalwood box with her at all times. No one questioned Yunjian's explanation. That's right, how could a real sandalwood box appear here? What about these sabers? Chief Fong asked as he pointed at the various butterfly knives that were spilled out of Yunjian's bag. My friend gave it to me. Yunjian calmly picked up the bag and slung it over her shoulder. Her calm demeanor and superb lying skills had deceived everyone present. Especially Zhou Duanjing and his group, they heaved a huge sigh of relief. Zhou Duanjing and his group were scared out of their wits by Yun Jian's behavior just now. Only now did their expressions return to normal. Yun Jian picked up the items and slung her school bag over her shoulder before walking towards the dormitory. Just as she reached Nan Linlin's side, she said to Nan Linlin without hiding anything, "You should be glad that you're in the selection area. Otherwise, I'll stab you with as many sabers as they fall out of my bag." Once Yun Jian said that, everyone present was stunned. She did not hide the meaning of her words at all. This time, not only was Zhou Duanjing, who was hostile to Yun Jian, stunned, Nan Linlin was so shocked that she exclaimed to Yun Jian, "How dare you? Let's see if I dare." As soon as Yun Jian finished speaking, she flipped her hand and a butterfly knife appeared in her hand. Then, she swung the butterfly knife in front of Nan Linlin. A large chunk of Nan Linlin's hair was immediately shaved off. However, Yun Jian's knife skills were precise. Apart from that chunk of hair, the tip of the knife did not touch Nan Linlin's clothes at all. By the time everyone reacted, the butterfly knife in Yun Jian's hand had disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed. Chapter 16:24. Before this, Yun Jian had never shown her skills in front of everyone. However, she had shocked everyone with just a few moves. The moment she saw Yun Jian's amazing skills, Luo Mei exclaimed, "She's so powerful." Luo Mei came in through the back door. She was here purely to train her skills and not to compete for a spot in the hunting school. Therefore, the people around her did not pay much attention to Luo Mei. Meanwhile, Nan Linlin, who was shocked by Yun Jian's swift swordsmanship, was shocked when she saw Yun Jian cut off the hair on the side of her shoulder. When she came to her senses, her face was so pale that she could not even speak. It was too scary. Yun Jian gave her the feeling that she was a demon from hell. Like Luo Mei, Nan Linlin came in through the back door and did not have any skills. At first, she thought that Yun Jian was just like her and did not have any skills because of her young age. However, after seeing Yun Jian's terrifying swordsmanship, Nan Linlin was completely shocked. Even Zhou Duanjing and the others who were standing far away were shocked by Yun Jian's actions. She was just a teenage girl. However, from Yun Jian's skills, they could tell that Yun Jian's skills were, ahem, go back to sleep. Officer Fang's urging voice rang out before anyone could think too much about it. Officer Fang was especially shocked. Fortunately, before Yun Jian entered the selection field, Yu Xiaoluo had told him that Yun Jian was a good seedling. Officer Fang was still doubtful before, but now it seemed that it was true. It was late at night. It was already 3 o'clock in the morning. The time to wake up was 5 o'clock. If they went back to sleep now, they could rest for another 2 hours. Everyone did not think too much about it and went back to their dorms to rest. Yun Jian only slept for an hour. She woke up at 4 o'clock for a morning jog. When it was around 5 o'clock, the morning bell rang. Officer Fang was standing in the open space waiting for everyone when he saw a small figure walking towards him. The moment he saw Yun Jian, Officer Fang was stunned. Then he looked at Yun Jian and asked, "Why are you up so early for a morning run?" "Yes," Yun Jian replied briefly. Although Officer Fang was slightly shocked, he still waved his hand at Yun Jian and said, "All right, return to the team." Normally, which young girl at Yun Jian's age wasn't thinking about love? Or fantasize about their other half? What about Yun Jian? She, on the other hand, did not take the usual path. Every day, she only thought about how to train herself and how to improve her strength. In less than 5 minutes, everyone got up and returned to the team. Perhaps it was because Officer Fang had said that they would be disqualified if they didn't come out in 5 minutes. Even the slower Luo Berry and the absent-minded Nan Linlin came out in 5 minutes. Officer Fang held a stack of number plates in his hand. Seeing that everyone had arrived in the stipulated time, he nodded in satisfaction. He first praised everyone and then went straight to the point. "Everyone performed very well today. I'm very satisfied. Continue to maintain your speed in the future." After praising, Officer Fang waved the number plates in his hand and continued, "These number plates in my hand are your numbers. From now on, you have to hang the number plates on your waist at all times. You are not allowed to call each other by their real names in the selection field. You are only allowed to call each other by their numbers. If there is a violation, you will be disqualified. Do you all understand?" Don't blame the selection field for having many rules. From time to time, they would be disqualified. All the rules of the selection field were related to the hunting school. In the hunting school, it might not be as simple as being disqualified. Understood. Everyone responded. Then from now on, your selection competition will officially begin. This selection will last for a month. In the first 20 days, you will be required to complete a difficult and dangerous subject under actual combat conditions every day. If you can't complete it, you will be disqualified on the same day. In the last 10 days, everyone who is not disqualified will compete one-on-one. The final 3 winners will be the top 3 in the hunting school. Chapter 1625. Also, I'm sure everyone knows that Luo Berry and Nan Lin Lin are not competing for the hunting school spots. Hence, they will participate in our training but will not be disqualified. The 2 of them will not affect anyone. As Feng Chong spoke, he did not forget to mention one more thing. Luo Berry and Nan Lin Lin were different from everyone else. They were not special forces and would not compete for the hunting school spots. Hearing this, the 100 people around them let down their guard as they were not a threat to Luo Berry and Nan Lin Lin. With Officer Feng's final words, the selection officially began. In fact, in the first few days of the selection round, it was not difficult for special forces to pass the 20 dangerous subjects under actual combat conditions. Out of the 20 tasks, the first 19 were to test the physical standards of the participants. For example, bomb throwing, cross-country with 15 kilograms of weights for 5 kilometers, single and parallel bars for apparatus, 100-meter prone shooting for infantry, and so on. As long as one could achieve the required results in one go, they would be able to pass. Furthermore, it was easy but also nerve-wracking to pass the tests every day. This was because there was only one test per day. If there was a mistake, one would be disqualified. However, other than Luo Berry and Nan Lin Lin, the rest were the best special forces in Country Z. Naturally, there would not be any mistakes. Hence, in these 19 days, other than one special forces soldier who accidentally made a mistake and was disqualified on the spot, the rest passed the tests. In these 19 days, Yun Jian's performance was very ordinary. Like all the other special forces soldiers, she completed the tasks at a reasonable speed. Yun Jian did not display any shocking abilities. This made Zhou Duanjing and the rest think that Yun Jian's terrifying swordsmanship was just a coincidence. Hence, Zhou Duanjing and his gang's taunts and arrogance toward Yun Jian began to spread like wildfire. On the 20th day, on the open field, Officer Feng went back to his place to drink water. After the intense exercise, everyone sat on the field to rest. Some of them went back to their places to drink water and change their clothes. This was because the last of the 20 dangerous subjects under actual combat conditions would be carried out soon. The last one was undoubtedly the most difficult of the 20 dangerous subjects. According to Officer Feng, the elimination rate for the last one was as high as 80%. In other words, most of them would be eliminated. Therefore, everyone present would do their best to prevent themselves from being disqualified. On the spacious lawn, Yun Jian was wearing a short-sleeved shirt and black denim pants. She was lying on the lawn with one leg stretched out and the other bent lazily. She gently placed her hand above her eyes, trying to use her arm to cover the burning and eye-piercing sun above her head. Su Mei and the others sat beside Yun Jian. Seeing that Yun Jian wasn't afraid at all, Su Mei couldn't help asking, 006, aren't you afraid of being eliminated? After 19 days, everyone had gotten used to calling each other by their numbers. I'm not afraid. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and moved her hand away slightly. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the scorching sun above her head. After a moment of silence she continued, because I won't be eliminated. His words sounded ordinary, but they were surprisingly full of confidence. Ahahaha, do you think you won't be eliminated just because you said so? I really don't know what kind of courage you have to say that. The elimination rate for today's subject is as high as 80%. You didn't stand out in the previous 19 physical tests. They weren't as good as our 015. Oh. At first, you bragged about yourself to the sky and really made yourself into a powerful figure that no one could compare to. But in the end, your previous 19 physical tests were just Chapter 1626. The 015 that Zhou Duanjing was talking about was a person called Wu Nongnai. Wu Nongnai was one of the more outstanding people in Zhou Duanjing's group. In the first 19 days, Wu Nongnai's strength could be considered the most outstanding of all the special forces. Not only did he get first place in the cross-country race, he got first place in almost 50% of all the events. He could be considered a very eye-catching existence. In comparison, Yun Jian's results, every time she just passed the passing line, not much more, not much less. This made those who originally thought that Yun Jian was very strong let down their guard against Yun Jian. They originally thought that she was some powerful person. Previously, she was praised by Chief Fong as the one who gathered the fastest, and a sandalwood box even fell out of her bag. In the end, they found out that Yun Jian didn't change into her pajamas when she slept, and rushed out as soon as the alarm sounded. If she wasn't fast enough, a sow could give birth to 1,000 piglets in one go. And that sandalwood box, it was complete nonsense. She had the nerve to show off that it was fake. Pfft. Zhou Duanjing secretly laughed twice, then stared straight at Yun Jian, curled his lips, and looked coldly at Yun Jian. Wu Nongnai, who Zhou Duanjing was talking about, stretched out his hand in front of Yun Jian, Su Mei, and the others to show off his muscles, then raised his head proudly and looked at Yun Jian. I heard that the last event is a competition of teamwork. Our team has 015, so we will definitely win. As for you guys. When Zhou Duanjing said this, he looked up and down at Yun Jian's group, then made a few tisk-tisk sounds, paused, then continued, you guys, just wait to pack up and leave. Let's go. After Zhou Duanjing said those arrogant words, he waved at everyone and turned to leave. You guys. Even if Zhou Duanjing was talking about Yun Jian, Su Mei was still quite angry by Zhou Duanjing's words. She was about to curse back, but Yun Jian grabbed her hand. If they do this, I couldn't take it lying down. Su Mei was about to speak when she was interrupted by Yun Jian. Don't take the words of an ant seriously, Yun Jian said indifferently. Ants? Yun Jian compared Zhou Duanjing and his group to ants? After hearing Yun Jian's words, Su Mei really didn't care about what Zhou Duanjing said. Everyone gather. At this moment, Officer Fong, who had gone back to his residence to drink water, had returned. Not only did Officer Fong come back, but he also brought back more than 10 soldiers. Each of these soldiers was carrying more than 10 military backpacks. After they put down the military backpacks, Officer Fong stood in front of them again. Our 20th subject is a dangerous subject under actual combat conditions. It's both simple and difficult. In a moment, each of you will be given a backpack. Take this backpack, and we will bring you to an entrance called the Misty Forest. The objective of the mission is to depart from the entrance of the Misty Forest and walk out of the Misty Forest in the shortest time possible. We will be waiting for you at the designated destination. The first 20 people to walk out of the Misty Forest will advance. In addition, you are in groups of 5. You can freely form groups. The first 20 people to reach the destination, which is the members of 4 groups, will advance. In addition, this backpack contains water, food, a compass, and a series of other things. Someone once walked out of the Misty Forest in the shortest time possible, using 24 hours and 39 minutes, so I wish you all good luck. Chapter 16:27. By the way, there are many ferocious beasts in the Misty Forest. If you are surrounded by ferocious beasts, the chances of you dying are very high. Therefore, during the competition, you can press the emergency button at any time. Our people will definitely arrive and save you before anything happens to you. However, it also means that you'll be disqualified. Of course, it's up to you. Alright, if you're ready, come and register your team of 5 and get ready to go. Officer Fong reminded him once again in a very earnest and heartfelt manner. They chose to go to the fog forest because it was very dangerous. However, they were all special forces and had gone through inhuman training. Even if they encountered beasts, they could protect themselves for a short period of time. Normally, nothing would happen in the fog forest. Moreover, they were all special forces who were competing for a place to go to the hunting school. They had to go to places like the hunting school, let alone a place like the fog forest. If they did not even dare to go to the fog forest, they would not even need to compete for a place to go to the hunting school. After everyone put on their equipment and gathered, they were ready to depart. Luo Berry and Nan Lin Lin would not participate in such a dangerous activity. Therefore, they stood aside and watched all the special forces put on their equipment and prepare to depart. After interacting with each other for a few days, Nan Linlin's attitude towards Yun Jian was very bad. On the contrary, Luo Berry's relationship with Yun Jian and Su Mei was very good. At this moment, Luo Berry was looking at Yun Jian and Su Mei with a worried expression. Seeing that Yun Jian and Su Mei were about to take the bus to the fog forest, Luo Berry waved at Yun Jian and Su Mei. "Come back safely. You have to get first place. I believe in you." "Yes, we will." Su Mei gestured at Luo Berry. Yun Jian was far away. Although she did not say anything to cheer Luo Berry up, she winked at Luo Berry as a response. After that, a few buses brought Yun Jian and her team to the entrance of the fog forest. The misty forest was indeed as its name suggested. Looking from the cement road beside the misty forest, the top of the forest was covered by a thick layer of fog. The entire forest seemed to be covered by a thick layer of fog. "You can go in now," Chief Feng said to everyone with his arms crossed. As soon as he said that, all the members of the team swarmed in. Everyone wanted to enter the dense fog forest first so that they could leave the dense fog forest one step faster than others. Yun Jian naturally formed a team with Su Mei and the others. Seeing that the other teams had already walked towards the misty forest, Yun Jian stopped Su Mei and the others. She pursed her lips and said, "No rush." Ha! Although Su Mei didn't understand, she didn't force her way in. Yun Jian walked forward and rummaged through the soil at the entrance of the misty forest as if she was looking for something. After rummaging through the surrounding soil, she followed Su Mei and the others into the misty forest. "They are far away. Let's go faster," Su Mei said. Yun Jian's eyes darkened, but she didn't say anything. After walking for about an hour, they bumped into Zhou Duanjing and the others. It wasn't just Zhou Duanjing's team. There were also a few other teams resting where they were. After walking for an hour, everyone was naturally tired. Their drive wasn't as strong as before. Yun Jian and the others didn't walk very fast, so they could still continue walking. But just as they were about to continue, they were stopped by Zhou Duanjing and the others. Zhou Duanjing even teased Yun Jian with a smile. "Yo, you guys still want to continue walking? If you meet any ferocious beasts, don't come crying to us for help." As soon as Zhou Duanjing mentioned ferocious beasts, Yun Jian frowned. "Oh woo!" Just then, the roars of ferocious beasts came from afar. "No! No way!" Zhou Duanjing's face instantly darkened. Ferocious beasts were really coming? Could it be that his crow's beak had hit the jackpot? "It's a pack of wolves," Yun Jian said as she took out 2 butterfly knives from her backpack and held them in her hands. "Don't scare us." It sounded like the cry of a bird. How could we meet such a dangerous species as a pack of wolves the moment we enter? Do you think you have good hearing and can hear clearly that it's a pack of wolves? One of the people in Zhou Duanjing's group chuckled coldly at Yun Jian. But just as this person finished speaking, ferocious wolves leaped out of the forest one after another. All the wolves surrounded them ferociously. This time, everyone who was sitting where they were stood up. The expressions of Zhou Duanjing and the person who said Yun Jian was spouting nonsense changed drastically. Especially the person who said Yun Jian was spouting nonsense. When he saw this scene, he immediately exclaimed, "F***CK, it's really a pack of wolves." Chapter 1628. Zhou Duanjing, Wu Ningnai, and the others were dumbfounded. They watched in shock as one wild wolf after another flew out from the surrounding forest and then naturally formed a large circle, surrounding the people present. "Awoo! Awoo!" There seemed to be some unknown music coming from afar. The moment they heard the music, the wolves did not surround everyone at the same time. Instead, they surrounded everyone in the center of the circle and raised their heads to howl loudly. The howls were deafening for a moment. 80% of the special forces who participated in the 20th combat event were resting here. They were now trapped in the wolf pack with Yun Jian and the rest. The moment they saw the wolf pack, everyone was shocked at first, then their expressions tensed up. Everyone present was the best special forces from all over Country Z. Even if they were to face a wolf pack, they would not lose their lives here. Zhou Duanjing was in the weaker batch, so when he saw the wolf pack, he was in a more pathetic state. The other special forces were not the same. When they saw the wolf pack, they only tensed up and silently picked up the weapons in their hands. It was unfortunate to encounter a wolf pack, but as a special forces soldier, they did not have to complain about encountering a wolf pack or be unlucky. They had to be ready for battle at all times. The wolf pack was still leaping out of the forest. All the special forces soldiers looked at the wolf pack that surrounded them and did not move. Why are there so many wolves? Xueqi furrowed her brows. She grabbed a dagger from her military backpack and held it in her palm. She looked at the wolves leaping out of the woods one after another. Her expression was extremely bad. Everyone, don't fight. Work in pairs. Back to back, protect your back, and kill the wolves head-on. Wang Buren's voice was heard at this moment. After all, Wang Buren was considered strong. He was old and calm, so he was more meticulous in his work. Hence, as soon as Wang Buren's words fell, many special forces soldiers listened to his advice and each found a trustworthy partner. Back to back, they faced the wolf pack head-on. Zhou Duanjing, who was just mocking Yun Jian and crying for help, was now scared. He did not even care about Yun Jian. He stared at the wolf pack, afraid that the wolves would rush up and bite him to death. Just as the group was on high alert, Yun Jian's eyes flashed. She moved the butterfly knife in her hand and stared at the wolves for a while. In the next second, Yun Jian put away the butterfly knife. 006. What's wrong with you? Give me your back. Let's kill the wolves together. Xueqi saw that Yun Jian was not moving at all. She frowned and then held the dagger, alert to see if the wolves around them were charging at her. Ha! She must have been scared silly. I told you, a girl like her, if she can't accept this cruel reality, she should go home by herself. Zhou Duanjing had Wu Ningnai behind him, so he was very arrogant. While guarding against the wolves around them, he did not forget to mock Yun Jian. However, just as Zhou Duanjing finished speaking, the special forces soldiers who were ready to kill the wolves saw Yun Jian's eyes flash. She actually walked straight toward the wolves. 006. Are you crazy? Seeing Yun Jian walking toward the wolves, Wang Buren saw this and his eyes widened. He was so scared that he shouted, "She really wants to die." Zhou Duanjing could not help but sigh. However, before he finished speaking, everyone saw Yun Jian raise her leg and kick the wolf standing in front of her. It's over. Everyone present thought that Yun Jian was done for and was about to be surrounded by the wolves. However, when the surrounding wolves saw that the wolf was kicked away by Yun Jian and received Yun Jian's cold aura, the wolves were so scared that they instantly made way for her. What was going on? She had the ability to make the wolves make way for her? This was not the end. Yun Jian walked forward for about 20 meters and walked under a very large tree. From behind the tree, she pulled out a man in camouflage. After Yun Jian pulled out the man in camouflage, she dragged the man to the ground. Looking at him, this person was actually a Special Forces soldier under Officer Fong. The Special Forces soldiers in the distance were shocked, but they heard Yun Jian's voice again. She coldly curled her lips and said with a faint smile, "Controlling the wolves to attack us, is it fun? If I'm not wrong, if we continue walking, we will encounter all kinds of ferocious beasts. It's only a 4-hour walk from the entrance to the end of the misty forest. If we encounter ferocious beasts, the fastest speed we can reach the end is 24 hours. By the time we've chased the beasts away, it's already dark. We have to spend the night in the forest to ensure our safety. Officer, may I ask if I'm right?" As soon as Yun Jian finished speaking, the Special Forces soldier under Officer Feng's command had a drastic change in expression. He looked as if he had been completely seen through by Yun Jian. Then, this Special Forces soldier took out his walkie-talkie and said anxiously to Officer Feng on the other end of the walkie-talkie. Chapter 1629. Officer Feng had already reached the end of the fog forest. He had ordered his men to set up a few tents at the end of the fog forest. He planned to spend the night there. According to his calculations, the fastest special forces that entered the fog forest would take at least 24 hours to get out. Hence, he was not in a hurry at all. Officer Feng stayed at the end. There was a rocking chair here. He sat on the rocking chair and rocked back and forth, enjoying the sunlight. It had already been an hour. The first wave of wolves reared by his men should have surrounded them by now. He was really looking forward to it. When would they come out? There was also the good seedling that he had just discovered this year. 006. Would she break the record of being the fastest person to lead her team out of the misty forest? He was really looking forward to it. At this moment, a military jeep drove over from the side of the cement road. When Officer Fong saw the person who got out of the jeep, he immediately stood up from his rocking chair and saluted the middle-aged man who got out of the jeep. "Sir." The middle-aged man who came down from the military jeep was Officer Fong's superior, Commander Ma. Commander Ma saw Officer Fong saluting him. He waved his hand and stopped Officer Fong from saluting him. He smiled kindly at Officer Fong. After Commander Ma, there were many officers of the same rank as Officer Fong who came down from the military jeep. "Old Fong, have they all entered the fog forest?" Commander Ma narrowed his eyes and asked Officer Fong. The superiors attached great importance to this selection competition. It was not only because the top 3 spots in the hunting school had to be taken by the best special forces. More importantly, if the 3 special forces who went to the hunting school could graduate successfully, it would have a great impact on Z country's reputation. At least the foreigners would not look down on Z country's people. Z country's people also had to establish their own dignity. Hence, Commander Ma came down from the army to check on the situation. "Yes, sir." Officer Fong nodded at Commander Ma. "Well, have you found any good seedlings in the past 19 days? Commander Ma nodded and asked again. "There are some good seedlings, but they are still young." Speaking of good seedlings, the first person that came to Officer Fong's mind was undoubtedly Yun Jian. "How small? How's his strength?" Military Commander Ma quickly asked. 16 years old, and her strength is amazing. Officer Fong could only use the word amazing to describe Yun Jian. Since you can use such a tone to evaluate her, she must be a good seedling. I really want to meet him. As soon as Commander Ma finished his sentence, Chief Fong's walkie-talkie rang. The panicked voice of the Special Forces soldier on the other end of the walkie-talkie could be heard all over the place. "Yes, sir. Our plan has been seen through." All the officers present knew why it took so long to walk from the entrance to the exit of the dense fog forest. However, this was also to train a Special Forces soldier's ability to respond to unexpected situations and complete missions quickly. Therefore, all of the officers were well aware of this situation. However, ever since the selection had been held, the secret of the fog forest had never been discovered by any of the participating Special Forces. Not to mention that the plan had been seen through. If the plan was seen through, then this plan would definitely not work. Therefore, the voice from the walkie-talkie made Officer Fong, Commander Ma, and all the officers standing behind Commander Ma widen their eyes. What? The plan has been seen through? Who saw through it? Officer Fong asked the Special Forces soldier on the other end of the walkie-talkie in a daze. The voice of the Special Forces soldier immediately came from the other end. Hearing this, Officer Fong's eyes widened in shock. 006. Isn't it her? It's that little girl. Chapter 1630. Military Commander Ma was even more satisfied after hearing the Special Forces soldier's words. While the officers were shocked, Military Commander Ma did not forget to nod. She is indeed a good seedling. I am confident that our Z country's Special Forces will be able to hold our heads high in the hunting school this time. In the past, the Special Forces soldiers sent by Z country to the hunting school were not particularly outstanding. Hence, they were indirectly ridiculed by the hunting school and some international figures. Although there were a few exceptional talents, there were not many of them overall. There were only 1 or 2 of them who were at the top. Moreover, the 1 or 2 at the top was not as powerful as 100 or so people. Hence, when they heard that Yun Jian had exposed their plan, Military Commander Ma, Chief Fong, and every officer present were both embarrassed and excited. They were excited because they had finally found another good seedling. Ha ha ha. Old Fong, I have a feeling that this young lady will definitely amaze the world. Then she will become an outstanding representative figure in the history of Z country. Military Commander Ma gave the highest evaluation he had ever given in his life. Hearing this, the surrounding officers expressed their agreement. Somewhere in the misty forest, Zhou Duanjing, Wu Ningnai, and the rest were watching the scene with their mouths agape. No one had expected Yun Jian to pull off such a trick. When Yun Jian walked towards the wolves earlier, everyone thought that Yun Jian wanted to deal with the wolves alone. However, No one had expected Yun Jian to kick away a wolf, then stun the wolves. Finally, she walked over and pulled out the Special Forces soldier under Chief Fang from behind a big tree. She even used a shocking method to decipher all the facts one by one. Without asking about anything else, Yun Jian's words had frightened the Special Forces soldier under Chief Fang to the point that he immediately called Chief Fang for help. Who on the scene could do such a thing? When they were surrounded by the wolves just now, everyone wanted to fight, but Yun Jian was the only one who saw through it. It was really, at that moment, no one dared to say a word. Until Chief Fang's voice came from the walkie-talkie. Ahem. Since the plan has been discovered, I will change the competition at the last minute. For the sake of fairness, I will remove all the beasts that are obstructing you. Everyone will rely on their own abilities. Whoever reaches the finish line first will win. The elimination system will remain unchanged. You can run if you want. The top 20 who find the correct direction and reach the finish line in the Misty Forest will advance. You may move now. 80% of the Special Forces were surrounded by the wolves, and the remaining 20% were not present. For the sake of fairness, Chief Fang changed the rules. He wanted everyone to reach the finish line in the Misty Forest as soon as possible and secretly removed all the beasts that attacked the Special Forces soldiers. In other words, the other 20% of the Special Forces would not encounter any ferocious beasts along the way and would be dismissed by Chief Fang. In this way, fairness could be guaranteed. As soon as Officer Fang finished speaking, the surrounding Special Forces soldiers continued moving forward as fast as they could. Run. Why were they standing? Waiting for the food? In fact, even without the beast's attack, it was not easy to run to the finish line. Because it was easy to get lost in the Misty Forest. If he just ran forward without knowing the direction, what if he ran in the wrong direction? Wouldn't they be even further away from the finish line? Yun Jian, what should we do? Perhaps because Yun Jian's performance was too outstanding, Su Mei, Su Wenming, and the other three walked up to Yun Jian and asked Yun Jian, "Run. Whoever reaches the finish line first will win." However, Yun Jian only narrowed her eyes slightly. Then, she took the lead and took a step forward. Chapter 1631. Since Chief Fang had changed the competition format at the last minute, the members of each group could only run for a few steps before stopping. Running like this was not the way to go. Of course, they could not just run blindly. Secondly, they had to find the right direction and be precise. In this way, the 5 members of each group had to run in different directions. However, without the attacks of the beasts, the journey that would have taken them more than 24 hours could now be completed in a few hours. Of course, whether they were fast or slow still depended on their own speed and the time it took to find the right direction. Yun Jian did not even look at the compass. Sometimes, she would just look at the ground and decide which direction to go. Su Mei and the other 3 were very curious about this, but they chose to believe in Yun Jian unconditionally. Old Fang, you changed the competition format at the last minute. That little girl is a good seedling. Will she be able to advance? Military Commander Ma was very interested in Yun Jian. He kept asking Chief Fang. With her strength, if she can't advance, then there's no need for her to stay in the selection field. Chief Fang's heart was tense as he said this very calmly. To Chief Fang, if Yun Jian was really a good seedling, then no matter how the competition format was changed, she would definitely pass. Otherwise, there was no need for a good seedling like Yun Jian to stay. Old Fang, in your opinion, how long will it take for that little girl to come out of the Misty Forest? Military Commander Ma squinted his eyes and asked Chief Fang again. Officer Fang was silent for 2 seconds. He did some calculations seriously and finally said, "That's right. 4 hours at the fastest. The Misty Forest is covered with green trees. Even with a compass, someone once took 4 hours to walk out of the Misty Forest. That was under the condition that the Misty Forest was unobstructed. Moreover, from the entrance of the Misty Forest to here, there is a place that is covered with fog all year round. It will definitely take a long time to walk out of there, so I estimate that it will take at least 4 hours." Chief Fang combined all the theories, reality, and people who had walked through that place before. Under the condition that there were no beasts, it would take at least 4 hours to walk out of the Misty Forest. Therefore, Chief Fang gave Yun Jian the fastest speed, which was 4 hours. "No, I think she will be even faster. Military Commander Ma suddenly interrupted Officer Fong confidently, and said to Officer Fong confidently. It had been 2 hours since the special forces had entered the fog forest from the entrance. Oh, what do you mean? Chief Fong narrowed his eyes and asked. I trust my intuition. This little girl will lead us to a new height. Military Commander Ma looked forward and let out a long sigh. After a while, Military Commander Ma continued solemnly, I estimate that she can break the record and reach the finish line in 3 hours. 3 hours. No one had ever passed through the misty forest in 3 hours and reached the finish line. How high did Commander Ma think of Yunjian? All the officers present took a deep breath in shock. Look, that's. Just as Commander Ma gave Yunjian the highest rating and estimated the fastest record, someone exclaimed in surprise. That's someone coming out from the misty forest? That's impossible. It's only been 2 hours. Someone actually reached the finish line from the entrance of the misty forest in just 2 hours? Another exclamation of surprise was heard. All the officers present were shocked. They felt that they had never encountered anything more shocking than today. That's 006. Officer Fong narrowed his eyes. When he saw the petite figure easily pass through the last patch of grass and walk over with the other 4 people from the same team, he exclaimed in surprise. All the officers present straightened their backs solemnly when they saw the number tag hanging on the leader's chest. Chapter 1632. Yunjian had her hands in her pockets. She strolled towards them lazily while enjoying the scenery. We're here? We're at the finish line? Su Mei saw Chief Fong and the other officers standing beside him. She was so surprised that she couldn't move her legs. That's it? Did that mean that they wouldn't be disqualified and would advance to the next round? The elimination rate this time was as high as 80%. In other words, among the 99 special forces, only the top 20, which was 1/5 of them, would be able to advance. The rest of them would be disqualified in this event. Pack up and leave. With such an elimination rate, even if Yunjian foiled Chief Fong and his team's plan, it was still terribly difficult for her to walk out of Mist Forest in the top 20 and advance to the next round. In spite of it, Yunjian had brought them to the destination in just 2 short hours. First place. First place. It's really her. It's really her. Chief Fong was so excited that he pinched the corner of his shirt and shouted. Chief Fong had never lost his composure like today. However, the moment he saw Yunjian and saw the number 006 tag hanging on Yunjian's chest, he almost jumped onto Commander Ma's waist and hugged him. Although Commander Ma was also excited, he still resisted the urge of Chief Fong to jump on him. He twitched the corner of his mouth and cursed in his heart. Luckily I'm prepared. Old Fong. If you jump on me, my waist will be hurt by your hug. Chief Fong's eyes were fixed on Yunjian from the beginning to the end. When he saw Yunjian walking towards him, a trace of pride flashed across his heart. It was his pride to be able to become Yunjian's chief. Yunjian walked slowly to the finish line. Chief Fong excitedly said to Yunjian and the other 5 people with Yunjian, 006, congratulations on getting first place in the 20th Dangerous Combat event. And your team is the first to reach the finish line. When he said this, Officer Fong was trembling all over. By the time the other teams reached the finish line, it had already been 6 hours since they entered the misty forest. By the 7th hour, all the teams had exited the dense fog forest. The outcome had been decided, but the teams that were eliminated on the spot were not discouraged. After all, he had participated in the preliminaries for 20 days and got to know many people. It was not a loss. When the results were announced, although Officer Fong's tone was much calmer in front of everyone, he still spoke with a hint of excitement. The first place of the 20th dangerous subject under actual combat conditions is 006. 006 is an example that all of you should learn from. Speaking of the 3 numbers 006, Officer Fong's blood was boiling. For some reason, when he said these 3 numbers, everyone present felt as if they were surrounded by faith. Zhou Duanjing and Wu Nengnai's faces were the darkest and scariest among all the people present. They had mocked Yunjian before, and now their faces were as ugly as they looked. However, it was undeniable that Zhou Duanjing and Wu Nengnai were quite capable as they had advanced. Although they were the last team to advance, they had barely passed the passing line. Chief, when you mentioned 006 earlier, I had an illusion that I was looking at Slaying God, who stood at the pinnacle of the world. Her abilities were admirable, and she was ranked first on the International Secret Agent Leaderboard. That's because Slaying God's serial number was 006 when she first joined the Enhun organization. At that moment, a Special Forces soldier who was eliminated suddenly said. Although Slaying God was an international fugitive, it was undeniable that Slaying God's abilities were the lifelong pursuit of many people. 006 was Slaying God's serial number when she first joined the Enhun organization. It was like the protection of God. Yun Jian's abilities and her serial number made the Special Forces soldier feel as if he had seen Slaying God herself. Everyone around them had the same illusion when they heard that. Chapter 1633. When everyone looked at Yun Jian, they felt as if they were looking at Slaying God, the #1 secret agent in the world. 006. It was the symbol of strength. After the Special Forces soldier praised Yun Jian, the other Special Forces soldiers who were disqualified in this round looked at Yun Jian with admiration as if they were looking at Slaying God. Putting everything else aside, the ability of Slaying God, the #1 secret agent in the world, was legendary. At the same time, it was the dream of countless Special Forces soldiers and a realm that they wanted to reach. Countless Special Forces soldiers wanted to fight for the quota to go to the Hunter Academy in order to train their skills to become someone like Slaying God. So what if you're staring at her? She's 006, but that doesn't mean she's Slaying God. Seeing that everyone was looking at Yun Jian, Zhou Duanjing, who was standing not far away, had long found Yun Jian an eyesore. This time, he said what he wanted to say in front of everyone. 006, the same as when Slaying God first joined in Hun, but what did that mean? It did not mean that Yun Jian was Slaying God, the #1 secret agent in the world. Even if Yun Jian's performance was shocking, Zhou Duanjing had never seen Yun Jian show off her amazing skills. To Zhou Duanjing, even if Yun Jian had surprised a bunch of people, she was just taking advantage of the situation. At most, she was smarter. Looking at her skinny body, she did not look like she had much strength. That's true, but the young lady is really amazing. She needs to be praised. At least, I can't reach her level now. Haha. I've been disqualified. A man in his 30s refuted Zhou Duanjing's statement tactfully. He first smiled, then praised Yun Jian indirectly. With an 80% elimination rate, it was amazing that a teenage girl like Yun Jian could stay in the selection field. Zhou Duanjing clenched his fists. He originally wanted to say something, but he forcefully swallowed the words that he wanted to say. He would use his fists and strength to show Yun Jian in the next few days that it was impossible for her to compete for the top 3 spots in the Hunter Academy with just some tricks. He would let her know that leaving the selection field with serious injuries was not a joke. The results of the competition are out. Many people have left. You can leave the selection field tonight. Chief Fong signaled for everyone to quiet down and said to the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, "Don't be upset that you've been disqualified because you're not disqualified. You're just temporarily. Next year, the year after that, and the year after that, there's still plenty of time for you to make a comeback. Remember that each and every one of you are the pride of Country Z. Everyone has their own value." Officer Fong patted his chest and spoke very solemnly, spreading his passionate words to everyone present. After he said that, the Special Forces soldiers who were disappointed that they had been eliminated mustered their courage again. Chief Fong at the same time. After sending away all the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, there were only 20 Special Forces soldiers left, including Nan Linlin and Luo Mei. Nan Linlin and Luo Mei were not included in the 20 Special Forces soldiers. They were there purely to experience life. Luo Mei, on the other hand, was very hardworking in learning martial arts. After sending away all the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, Chief Fong gathered the remaining 20 Special Forces soldiers in an empty space. Nan Linlin and Luo Mei were not included in this group of 20 Special Forces soldiers. "I'll bring you to a Taekwondo dojo later. You'll stay there for the next few days. We're just borrowing the dojo space. The remaining 20 Special Forces soldiers will fight one-on-one. You'll fight each other once a day. I'll explain the rules later. When we get there, the Taekwondo dojo has its own business. Everyone can train in the Taekwondo dojo, but don't disturb their business. I'll take you there now. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.